I'd like to call a city council meeting to order for April 8, 2014. Would you please stand? Word of prayer. Ron.
Okay, bow our heads, please. Dear Heavenly Father, we just thank you so much for this day of life. We just thank you for the blessings that you pour out on us every day. And we ask for your blessing on each and every person here today, Father. Father, we just pray that you will keep us on that straight and narrow path that we need to be on. Father, we just pray that we will keep you in our sight and we listen to your word. And we're looking up, Father, because we know our Redeemer draws near. Father, we just pray that you watch over this council meeting. The words and actions that take place today, we hope will be pleasing in thy sight. And we just thank you for everything you do for us. And we just ask and pray this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Right.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Clerk.
Ms. McCullough? Here. Mr. Everson?
Here.
Mr. Oliver Jenkins?
Present.
Mr. Corbin?
Here.
Mr. Webb?
Here.
Mr. Shine?
Present.
Mr. Sam Jenkins?
Present.
Okay, Vice Chairman, I'll accept the motion from you for the approval of the Administrative Council on March 24th and City Council meeting on March 25th.
Second. I'd like to make that motion.
Okay, it's been moved by the Vice Chair. Second, second by the third Vice Chair, Oliver Jenkins, that's the third Vice Chair, just for the second Vice Chair. All in favor vote yes, opposed is no. Minutes have been approved with a 7-0 vote. Mayor, we back in your hands, and I know being in your hands is just like being with Allstate.
Good hands, Mayor.
That's right.
Thank you, Mr. Shine, members of the council. We're going to start off our council communication today as usual, and that's by welcoming all those who are joining us here, both in person and by web. But we appreciate them coming and getting involved and engaging in the democratic process. As you all know, probably many of you maybe know by now that this Saturday will be the Great American Cleanup, another part of our effort to try and make Shreveport and Northwest Louisiana a cleaner and greener place. As usual, we will ask our very own Donna Curtis to please come forward. She's the Executive Director of Shreveport Green to tell us a little bit about what's going to be taking place this particular weekend. It represents, I think, an elevation of our efforts in that we're going to be calling on leaders of every level to take on litter in a very serious way and to make 2014 not a year of rhetoric, but a year of action with regard to making Shreveport and Northwest Louisiana a cleaner and nicer and more pleasant place to be. So with that, Donna, we'll turn it over to you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Mayor, just before Donna starts, Mike and I mentioned to Donna that I told you about, we had a chance to meet with a couple of guys, and nothing under the table, we'll call their name, Reverend Timothy Jones and I guess I can say Attorney Calvin Lusty, about cleaning up in Cedar Grove. And I think the mayor has made the expression that those people are very frustrated out there, Donna, with the amount of waste and trash that's in Cedar Grove. And their point of view is it seems like the city always overlooked them when it's time to have cleanup efforts. And Mike and I wanted to mention that, Mr. Mayor, to Donna, so we gave her a contact name so we can make sure, Donna, that we do everything that we can in order to get them involved, at least reach out to them, so that frustration that they might have, they can't say that we caused it. You know, let's reach out to them and try to get them involved in this.
Thank you, Mr. Shine. As Mayor Glover stated, the Great American Cleanup runs between the 1st of March and the end of May. We always select about the second week in April for our major thrust, mainly because we have to coordinate with the schools, because the schools participate an awful lot. This year, April 12th, this Saturday, will be our big Great American Cleanup. We have already almost 1,000 people signed up to do this. And the way we do this, Mr. Shine, just so you know that, and all of you know, we have a huge email blast. We have of about 800 people on the email list that get, volunteers around the community get invitations, and then they sign up. We provide T-shirts, bags, litter picker-uppers, gloves if they need it, anything to make their cleanup a success. Then they bring everything back to the fairgrounds, and we have weighed all the trash. We have food, we have music, we have a big celebration with the volunteer effort. I will definitely place a call to these people. We already have some people from Cedar Grove signed up. I don't have the list with me, but I know we have a few churches or neighborhood groups signed up from that area and all over the city. As Mayor Glover stated, we have expanded our efforts. We have been trying to pull Bossier in, and Bossier's been very responsive and excited about it. And we do have a few teams from Bossier, from the hotels. There are 3 or 4 hotels in Shreveport, and I think 2 in Bossier, that are going to do cleanups for us. That's really big, because that gets their employees involved in everything. It is, as you all know, we have 3 parts of a litter abatement. We have cleanups. That's just everybody can participate. Education, which we're ramping up big time. We're preparing for a big litter campaign, which I'll run by you all before we decide on it. And then we'll have enforcement. And so enforcement's a big part of it. On April 11th, the state has put together this Leaders Against Litter, which I've passed out to you all. And in Shreveport, our event is going to be with as many of our elected officials as we can get there, and our leaders in the community. It'll be Friday at 10 o'clock at Riverview Park. It's in Shreveport. Mayor Glover will be there, and he'll be joined by Mayor Walker. Mayor Glover will lead off with the proclamation and with the remarks for the city. And then Mayor Walker will come, and he will also speak. I'll have 2 or 3 lines. And then we're going to invite whoever else would like to speak. Any of you that are there that would like to do something, we're going to have it filmed, and then we send that film down to Baton Rouge, and they'll have it at their big announcement at 2 o'clock Friday afternoon. So ours is going to be that morning, and then the Baton Rouge one will be that afternoon, and we'll be represented through our media. I've given you all T-shirts. You don't have to wear the T-shirts, but they were sent to us as part of this, our involvement. We got a small grant with this to help put this on, and we're very excited. A big player with us this year has been the hospitality industry. They are the ones that came to us and were very concerned, and rightly so, about some of the litter problems, specifically along some of our main highways and our exits and entrances to the interstate and all of that. And although we can't do that with volunteers, we are working with some of the people who are able to clean those and have a special polish put on those this weekend also. Like I said, we're booming. As you can see, I apologize for my 2 black eyes. I broke my nose Thursday. Just part of the job, but we have been working every day trying to get this going, and it's exploding. It's so big this year. We're excited. If there are any questions, I'd be glad to answer.
Friday morning?
Excuse me?
What time was that?
10 o'clock.
At 10.
We'll have full media. Hopefully, all you leaders, I would love to have you there to show a sign of support for what the litter problem, for how we are going to approach and tackle the litter problem. But other than that, thank you for the opportunity, and hope to see y'all Friday morning.
Thank you, Donna. Before you wrap up, I want to ask you, who won last year's competition in terms of volume of litter picked up?
Now, it's not fair.
Well, now,
You're putting me on the spot. I could
I thought Councilwoman McCullough might,
I'm about to say, we did.
Well, we have huge, I mean, those of you that have participated with us and are near me, when we have to announce who the winners are, people are hovering, trying to see who won the money.
Everybody won, because we got
Oh.
the city cleaned up a lot.
That's right, we did. And we
Okay,
we collect
okay.
about 72 tons. That's our, but we like to count the volunteers, and we had about 800 last year. I think we're going to break 1,000. We'll have about 1,200 this year.
excellent. And Donna, I think you may find it good news. A legislative report I reviewed last night tells me that there's a piece of legislation in Louisiana, down in the legislature, which moved out of committee. I think it's headed to the floor on the House side, that will make it a crime to discard a cigarette butt
Isn't that interesting?
in the state of Louisiana. I did not know that it was not yet a crime, but judging by the number of cigarette butts I see littering the streets of this city, it must not be. So I'm glad to know that that measure is being put in place, and that will be yet another one of the anti-littering points of discussion I'll be having with Chief Shaw and the folks at the Shreveport Police Department as we go
Please.
forward.
In Illinois, it's $750 a butt. So if you're caught putting a cigarette butt out your window or dropping it on the ground, it's $750 fine. And I think I don't think we're at $750, but there's a fine for it. And it escalates every time you're caught after that. So it's because they're very difficult to pick up and they don't disintegrate. It takes a generation.
Well, thank you, Donna, for coming down. We're going to be asking, Donna, I think you've got some comments from council as well before you leave.
I don't think so. I mean, I would, we,
I thought I saw Councilman Everson's hand about to go up there. I'm sorry.
No.
But we'll be putting information up about the Great American Cleanup on the city's website. So for those out there who are on the web, you can go to it for additional information. Rod and Dan will be making sure that that's up by tomorrow. And also for those folks who are not so web or net savvy, you can always call the mayor's office. We'll be able to give you additional information, put you in contact with Donna and her team so you can get out, get involved, and organize either for this weekend or at some other point that you want to go out and get engaged in helping to. Absolutely.
Make sure you make that call down to those people, because
And thank you for the beautiful
there's
T-shirts.
a lot of frustration out there.
And you even have a size too big for me this year, so that's the first time I've been able to say that in the
Right.
7 years that I've been here. So thank you.
Mr. Mayor, not to cut you off.
Oh, sir, Mr. Shine.
Right, not to cut you off, Oliver has some, in relation to this,
In
Donna.
relation to litter and beautification, I happen to have a guest of my own here today, and I thought it'd be apropos to bring him up if Joey Gucher would be kind enough to come to the podium, and maybe, can you help him with the mic up there? Thank you. So Joey is,
Steer.
what's that?
I see of AC Steer, I'm sorry.
Of AC Steer, that is correct. So he's got a little presentation for us today that we're excited to have him, and some great initiative on his part. So Joey, you've got the floor at this point.
Hi, my name is Joey Gucher. I started a project in May 2013 called Go Green, which encourages children and adults to take a pledge to help take care of our earth by recycling, picking up litter, planting trees and flowers, and conserving water and electricity. I also adopted the garden at AC Steer Elementary School, and I have cleanup days at area parks. Please join Go Green by raising your right hand and repeating after me.
Okay.
All right.
All right,
Hey,
let's
look
do
at
it.
Joey. Wow.
You got it.
I pledge
I pledge
to pick up litter,
to pick up litter,
recycle,
Recycle,
conserve water and electricity,
conserve water and electricity,
and make the earth a better place to live.
and make the earth a better place to live.
Congratulations, you are now members of Go Green. Now
All right. Hey, Joey.
Okay, well, Joey, you got something else there? Okay. I thought we might have some certificates possibly that you had for.
Start this way, Joey.
Oh, he's got them all in order. So
Oh, you got them all in
order?
order? Okay.
excellent.
You can come, Joey. Why don't you stay in front here and
Come around.
hand them
Step
up?
up, step up.
Thank you so much.
Joey.
That's how you spell Gucci.
Oh, got my name spelled correct.
sure I pronounce it properly.
Councilman Jenkins competition there.
I'm thinking about running a district seat.
Well, now,
Well,
Joey, let's talk.
Joey, thank you.
Mix up your Jenkins.
Yeah, tell you what, use this one.
Somebody told me before the council meeting that it was raining and my water sprinkler
out on
was
you.
running, so guess I went to correct that.
Joy? Joy?
cut it off, cut it off.
Mr. Councilman, Mr. Chairman, if you don't mind,
No.
you mind all standing up?
All right, good, Joey.
Joy, you come stand up and
All
front
right.
there.
Come this way, Joey.
He can do, well, probably best if he's there, because I don't think we're gonna see him.
Yeah.
So how are we gonna hold them now?
We're gonna hold them up.
Up like this.
Like this from our chest?
Let's see here, Mr. Chairman, we'll move your chair out.
Yeah.
the way. Come on, tighten up, guys.
Space in here?
Rose, get over there.
Rose.
Yeah, it is.
You old guy gotta help me get out.
Yeah.
Here we go, Joey. Looking good, looking good. Let me get a nut now, shaking. All right.
All right.
Bound to be.
Joey.
So while we're still here, first of all, certainly want to thank Joey for that, and truthfully, his own initiative got him here today. He requested an audience in front of the city council to present this, and I thought it was a great opportunity. And certainly, I knew Donna would appreciate something like this. Getting him involved at the, the right age is fantastic, and certainly like to see what they've got going on at AC Steer. I should mention that good gestures or community spirit or community involvement is a hallmark of their family. Their daughter Julianne, she does a program, I believe, delivering it's bears, right, to underprivileged folks. They've delivered more than 3,000 across the city, so that's a great program.
Let her come up then.
You want to come up and tell us a little bit
Tell
about
us
your
about
program?
Fair share.
You got it.
She got something for us.
Do you want to say
Yeah, go to the
something on
mic.
the microphone right
Yeah,
there?
yeah, go to the mic.
Okay.
Go to the microphone and tell us about Bear Share.
I want to
Tell
hear
us
her
about
name.
Bear Share.
State
She
your
doesn't want
name.
to?
Go to the mic. Go to the mic.
Sure, mother.
Right there, right there.
Okay.
Now give us your name.
Do you want to say your name, Juliana?
She's shy.
I'm Juliana Goocher,
All right.
And Juliana, where do you go to school?
AC Steer.
Okay, and can you tell us just a sentence or two about your program there?
I'm delivering fairs to kids in hard life situations and kids that have been sick and abused. So I have these cards.
All right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, and then that, if you want to give those to Miss B on the end there, she'll let us each have one of those if you wouldn't mind.
Thank you.
Okay, and then lastly, certainly want to recognize their mother, Amanda. She is very involved with the Shreveport Opera, and
Wow.
and actually they've got a great opera coming up on, is it the 28th? 26th of April. I can't remember which Saturday it is, but the last Saturday. And turned out one of the best productions out there, and hopefully they get a great attendance for that production. So thank you very much, Goocher family, for being here today, and appreciate your efforts, Joey. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, for that latitude. I thought it was right on script after done.
Absolutely. Absolutely. My pleasure, Mr. Jenkins and Mr. Chairman and council members. I'd like to, for us to jointly invite the folks from AC Steer to come and join us for the next council meeting. I'm sure those of you who keep up with such things are aware that they just had a trifecta recently, where in Help Me Children, it is the Teacher of the Year, the Student of the Year, and the Principal of the Year.
Oh, wow, hey.
Campus at one school right here in Shreveport, Louisiana. Excellent. Well, we want you guys 2 weeks from today to come back, tell us about the cleanup, but hopefully we'll be able to schedule the principal, the student, and the teacher of the year to be here with us so we can present them with some awards and honor them for the great work that they're obviously doing to produce great students.
And bring the superintendent with you.
Absolutely.
Bring the superintendent with you. Yeah, he'll come.
So thank you
For the system.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, council members. A couple of additional things very quickly here. Have Ms. Ebony Mapp, who is here with us from the Department of Community Development. You all may remember that Ebony is the staff person who's responsible for leading the team focusing on Bank on Shreveport. They have been very busy about the city over the last several months, helping to financially empower folks in some very significant ways. They have an event coming up this Saturday as well that I wanted her to come and share information with this council so that you all can help get the word out in your respective districts, and for the folks who are here as well as those who are watching us by the various means that they can also hear about it as well, and hopefully have more folks come out, get help, get connected, and end up giving themselves a better quality of life for themselves and their families. So Ebony, please.
Correct. Thank you, Mayor
Ebony
Glover.
looks like a banker. You look like a banker.
I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Council. Yes, we are having a free tax preparation day. We've partnered with the IRS, their VITA program, Volunteer Income Tax Assistance Program, as well as Church for the Highlands, which is one of our committee members for Bank on Shreveport, to do a free tax preparation day. It's actually the second of this season that we're doing. The first one we did was the first Saturday in the season in February 8th, and it was very successful. We did free tax preparation, we did free financial education workshops, and opening up bank accounts on site that day. And it was a wonderful success. We had like 100 people show up. We prepared about, I want to say, over 50 taxes that day, opened up 10 bank accounts, again, did free financial education throughout the day. It was all day, 9 to 3. So we're going to do it one more last time for the end of the season, April 12th, that is this Saturday, also at Church for the Highlands at 520 Olive Street from 9 to 12. So we'll be doing, again, free tax preparation, free financial education workshops, and of course we'll have some partners there from our banking institutions to open up accounts on site. That'll be Regions Bank and Pelican State Credit Union. And I have flyers that I can give to Ms. B and she can pass around to all of you. If there are any questions, I'd be happy to answer them at this time.
That's great work.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ebony. I'm going to assume that we have this on the city's website as well.
It will be.
Okay. And send out a tweet so I can retweet it as well.
Oh, we will do that. And thank you, Mr. Mayor, for promoting us through Twitter last time. It was great to see your tweets to us and hear you on the radio.
Well, no, absolutely. You guys are doing great work, and we definitely appreciate it. So
thank you, sir.
So proud of you and Bonnie Moore and Rashida and all the folks involved. And without question, we appreciate the civic mindedness of Pastor Henson and all the folks over at the Church for the Highlands. So good luck on Saturday, and we hope a lot of folks will come out and get some help.
Thank you, sir.
Absolutely. Mr. Chairman, also I saw Don Hobby here. I don't know if Don has left.
No, we're going to bring, it's not Don. We're going to, what is it, Menac? We'll bring Menac up. Come on up there, Menac.
Okay. Now, this young lady is with the Shreveport Bossier Mavericks. Well, that was on my list, so wonderful. I know that the ABA finals are during this month, and I'm assuming it may be before we meet again.
Yes, sir.
So we definitely wanted to take the opportunity to be able to let folks know that's going to be here in Shreveport. So wonderful. And she's much better to look at than Don Hopkins. I can say that since she doesn't work for the city of Shreveport.
Okay. We need risk management in here. There's some issues.
Well, good evening, Mayor and Council. My name's Mia Frierson, and I'm over advertising for the Shreveport Bossier Mavericks. On behalf of the Shreveport Bossier Mavericks, I did want to come tonight and personally invite each of the council to Saturday night's game. Saturday, I have 2 courtside seats for you. For Saturday night, we ask that you continue to support the Mavericks. We have 7 teams across the country that will be arriving between Wednesday and Thursday. On Thursday at 2 p.m., we have a press conference at the Holiday Inn airport location, which all 8 teams, we have teams from Jacksonville, Florida, we have South Florida, Bay Area, which is coming from San Francisco, we have Arizona, Chicago, New Jersey, and Dallas. So we have a lot of visiting teams coming, and we just want to grace them with Shreveport. For months, the Shreveport Bossier Sports Commission, as well as the Tourist Bureau, we've been working for months preparing for the finals, and we would just appreciate a good attendance to these games to show these teams how hard we've been working. So, you know, I ask that you all do support the team through these finals. Like I said, the Shreveport Bossier Mavericks, our first game is Saturday night at 8 p.m. Sunday starts the championship series, and it's the best 2 out of 3 games. We are striving to build the crowd and the momentum for this team and hopefully pull off a championship. We're planning to stay for years to come, so we just ask, you know, for your continued support.
Thank you.
So now give us the schedule again. The Thursday is the press conference.
Thursday is the press conference at 2 p.m., but games start that evening as well. The first game starts at 6 o'clock. The next game's at 8 o'clock. Friday as well. Each night of the finals, we have a different type of promotion. Thursday night is nonprofit and community service, so we are welcoming all nonprofits to attend the game for a discounted price. Friday night is ladies' night. Saturday is high school night and school night, where we're giving discounted price to students. Sunday is veterans and military appreciation night, where we're honoring Barksdale Air Force Base and the VA hospital. Monday night is support the Mavericks and wear Mavericks logos.
Thank you. It looks like you have some material there for us. Why don't you
Yes,
give us
I
the
do.
jacket, and Jackie will pass it out to us. See right, the jacket right, yeah.
Okay, thank you so much.
Before you go, Monday will be the finals. Is that the
Sunday begins the finals.
Sunday begins the
Yes,
finals?
sir.
And the championship game is
It's the best 2 out of 3, so we're hoping to finish the championship on Monday.
very good.
Yes.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So you'll get to play 2 of those 3 games in 4 months.
Yeah.
Mavericks are pretty good for those who haven't seen
Yes,
them.
yes. Thank you all so much.
2 years, you're ready for it.
Mr. Chairman, at this point, I want to take the opportunity to express great appreciation to all the folks who were involved in the grand reopening of the municipal auditorium this past Thursday. It was an outstanding event. It took place on April the 3rd, the 66th anniversary of the beginning of the Louisiana hayride. As mentioned on that night, it was in 1929, Armistice Day in 1929, when the building itself was first opened. It was built in memory of those veterans who died in what at that time was referred to as the Great War. It was opened with great pomp and circumstance by members of the Veteran of Foreign Wars. We were delighted and very honored that we had the 2014 iteration of the Veterans of Foreign Wars there on hand to post the colors and to be a part of the grand reopening. Just simply an outstanding job. The citizens of the city of Shreveport in 1929 voted to erect this edifice. In 2011, they voted to give it a rebirth, and due to the effective work of Shelley Regal and her staff, we were able to add an additional $1 million+ to the voter-approved $4.3 million, and also because of the willingness of Councilmember Jeff Everson, not only has the building itself been refurbished, but also the Grand Promenade in front is being returned to its 1929 glory as well. So if you have a chance, go by to take a look at it. The even better news is that it is an effort that is connected to significant improvements that have been done in the Oakland Cemetery, also voted and approved by the citizens of this city. That is just a stone's throw away from some $14 million of private money invested in the Ledbetter Heights area, in the Millennium Studio Complex, And all of that is right around the corner from $6+ million of philanthropic city and state funds that has given new life and new purpose to our old Central Fire Station, which has been reborn as the Central Art Station. And that serves as the centerpiece for the Shreveport Common Initiative, which is seeking to develop the entirety of that 9-block region as a place for people to live, create art, and to do business here in the city of Shreveport. And so very exciting times. You all heard about the market study that was just recently completed for that entire area as well. And I'm just excited to see and know that there's so many wonderful, exciting things that are happening down in that area. One additional thing that will be happening this weekend is the now twice yearly Makers Fair, which will be this Saturday as well. It'll take place in the area between the Central Art Station and the Municipal Auditorium. It starts, Jeff, I believe, at 10 a.m., if I'm not mistaken.
And it runs a long time. I think 10, I'm not planning on showing up until a little bit later than that because it's going to be such a great event. It's going to be all day long. But the typical Makers Fair usually starts 10 or 11, and I think this one is going to be more than typical. It's going to be a expanded and exciting version.
Well, very, very excited to see this iteration of it. Again, it's bigger and better. Lots more focus, lots more attention, lots more energy coming into the downtown area, the core of our city. And all of that is just a few thousand yards away from a great event that took place this morning. The groundbreaking of the Renaissance at Allendale. Was honored to be able to be there with the council member from the area, Councilwoman Rose McCullough. And literally dozens and dozens and dozens of Shreveport citizens there for the return of high-quality, mixed-income housing returning to the central core of our city. And so my thanks to all the folks who are part of the Shreveport Housing Authority, the Michaels Housing Development Organization, which is not only here today for the groundbreaking of Renaissance at Allendale, but will be on hand tomorrow for the ribbon cutting at what is now called Cypress, give me the other half, Cypress Landing. It was Southern Oaks, Mr. Shine, when I was a country boy growing up on the Cooper Road back in the 70s. But it has been reborn as a much better, higher quality, much more desirable place to live called Cypress Landing. It's directly across the street from the main campus of Southern University Shreveport, and without question it's going to be a very welcome addition to the city of Shreveport, especially the Cooper Road MLK area. So again, my thanks to all the folks on the board of the Housing Authority, Richard Harrington and his staff for yet another great addition to the housing mix for the city of Shreveport. I'm going to end mayoral communications today at this point before we transition to the update regarding the 2011 bond projects requested by council. Always delighted to have here inside the council chambers, and our good friend up in IT, Charles Williamson, always make sure that we're aware when we have Boy Scouts, Mr. Shine, who are joining us here. This young man was scheduled to be here with us at the last council meeting, but I fully understand that was spring break for the Kettle Parish school system, and coming down here that day would have been too much like going to school. So I don't blame him at all for putting that off for 2 weeks. But he's here with us today. We are delighted to have him. He's also here with his father. He is affiliated with Boy Scout Troop number 10, and his name is Alex Abel.
Won't you let him come up, Mr. Man?
Absolutely.
Why don't you come on up?
Alex Abel, and we're also going to ask his father as well, Mr. Bob
right.
Abel, to join him as well.
Right.
So, Alex, tell us a little bit about yourself, where you go to school, what projects you're in the midst of, and I'm assuming that this is a part of your civics merit badge as well, right?
Community, citizenship in the
community and citizenship. Excellent. So, address the council, please.
Hello, I'm Alex Abel. I'm in Troop 10, as Mayor Glover said, and I'm a Star Scout working on my life rank, and I'm working on the citizenship in the community merit badge, and I'm the assistant senior patrol leader of Troop 10. And I go to Uri Drive Middle School, which is a really good place. And I'm mainly in scouts. I use most of my time in scouting.
Excellent. Dad?
My name is Rob Abel. I'm the Assistant Scoutmaster for Troop 10 and serve right beside my son. Our Troop 10 is down at St. Elizabeth and Seton, and there are a few things that we've actually done listening to you guys today. There's the 3 things that we've actually done in the last 4 months that's huge. One of them is we actually collect food all over South Shreveport, and we collected Troop 10, the largest on combined. Our troop combined actually got more food than any other troop combined in the entire city of Shreveport and Bossier. We collected 5,800 pounds, and it was all donated to
We want to give you a hand for that.
Talking about road cleanup. Troop 10, we're in charge of Florida Lucas Road, and we did our road cleanup, which is what we try to do twice a year. And we filled up Mr. Williamson's back of his truck and another truckload of trash bags, and we also picked up probably multiple. I lost count of cigarette butts, like you said. Florida Lucas of all the intersections, just really, really bad of cigarette butts. So I understand that wholeheartedly. Let's see, what was the other one? And the food. And the road cleanup. Oh, yes, something you actually, dear to your heart, sir. We, once a year, we do our Shreveport barbecue down at Portico, and we just did it last month, and we had a very successful year. We actually cooked, I was the head chef, we cooked over 1,800 chicken dinners, and 350 of those chicken dinners went to needy places around the community of Shreveport. We actually fed Holy Angels on one of the entire Holy Angels for one night on that Saturday night last March, and it was amazing. And thank you for participating. You always come out and
always
buy our chickens, and we invite you out next March. Thank you.
All right.
Before you go back, Rob, Charles forgot to tell me this year, and so for the first time in 7 years, I had to write him up.
Oh.
No, I'm just kidding. But no, great event every year, and the best part about it, as you just mentioned, is the food that you guys deliver to the needy, what you all do for Holy Angels. It's an outstanding group of young leaders, and without question, we know that this young man is on his way to being an Order of the Arrow and eventually on to Eagle Scout. So please let us know when that happens, because we look forward to coming out, having a chance to be a part of the Court of Honor.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Thank you much.
All right.
Thank you. Mr. Chairman, members of the council, with that represents the end of this portion of our communications. However, we do have a request to provide the council an update on the status of the 2011 bond project that we will do at your direction.
You can, because when you mentioned Jeff's name a while ago, I thought you were going to say Jeff and his family donated $1 million to
Yeah. What family members
yeah.
are those?
Yeah, that's what I
didn't know I had those kind of family members.
Donated some of their family money. Yeah, that's what I thought. But Mr. Mayor, going on with the update.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the council. At this point, I'm going to turn it over to Dale because he and the staff have coordinated exactly how they want to come to you today.
I think what we'll do, Mr. Chairman, members of the council, in the interest of time, I've asked both our speakers to be as overview as possible, as brief as possible. We'll start with ladies first. Shelley Regal will review the SPAR building projects, and then Robert Westerman will come forward and review the streets and drainage and other projects from an engineering point of view. So we'll start with Shelley and go to Robert from there.
Good afternoon. Maybe if the mayor doesn't mind, real quickly, this weekend is what we're calling now, Mayor, the Big Scene. because it includes not only the Makers Fair, but the process that Shrek does and a parade from the Holiday in Dixie Parade. So it's a bigger event than normal, and we do start at 11 o'clock instead of 10 o'clock. So, and we go till 10. So it is going to
11
be
A till 10 P.
So it's going to be a long day, but known as the Big Scene, and we hope it becomes an annual event. So if you're out and about. Good afternoon. Thanks for giving us this opportunity. There's been a lot of activity going on over the last, I guess, 18 months, and giving us this opportunity to update you on where we are. What we did today is we tried to categorize them between event facilities, recreation centers, parks, and then we'll talk about the public safety side as well as the finance side. But as you know, here's the event facilities, municipal auditorium. We have reiterated already today, we had a great opening. That project is nearing completion. We have about 60 more days on the promenade before it's finished, but that project will be finished. The Barnwell Center, there's been a lot of conversation over the last week and a half, 2 weeks about what is the future of the Barnwell Center, and I think we're all putting our heads together to try to figure out what's the best future for that facility. You know, we talk a lot about bond proposals. They do the capital needs, but they don't provide operating costs. So we want to be very careful in what we do with that facility to ensure that we can maintain it as we go into the future. Riverview Theater and Hall, that funding will come in the next round of bond sales. Fairgrounds Field is the same way. And in Cargill Park, $1.33 million was allocated. That will not do the renovations. We thought we could do half and half, but the way the construction documents ended up, that project needs to go out for bid as one complete project. And so until we sell the remaining bonds for this project, the designs are ready, but we cannot begin that project. And I will say, and I'm glad I have the opportunity to say, we are at the point 30 years later that we need to do something to Cargill. We looked at maybe if there were some temporary fixes. They're in the $300,000 range. They're not, you know, you just can't. And we would be taking it out once we did this project. So this is one of those that is getting to the point, sort of like Huntington got, but either we got to do something with it. And it's become, we've had several issues of having to cancel games because of the conditions of the fields. Golf courses, Huntington Park Golf Course should open on, it's going to open on the first weekend in May. That renovation is nearing completion. Corby's Pro Shop, we do a final inspection on Friday, and hopefully we're moving in next week. At Jerry Tim Brooks, there was $100,000 allocated to do some Americans with Disability Act work. We did that, and that is complete also. Tennis, the Corby's Tennis Center has not been funded yet, those renovations. Those are mainly ADA renovations and some court surfacing. We sold, in the tennis center renovations, we sold $278,000. We've been able to replace the roof and the air conditioning at Southern Hills with about $60,000 of it. We hope that we can use the remaining $210,000 to resurface the other courts at Southern Hills that still need to be done. That design has been done and it's ready to bid. And then the rest of the resurfacing for Airport Park and Bill Cockrell will come when we have the other funding. The other bonds are sold. Community centers, and I'll quickly say all of these, Valencia, Hattie Perry, Bilberry, and Mamie Hicks, all have been designed. We need to set up a public meeting to go back to Bilberry to show them what we have, the schematic designs, but all of the others are bid and ready to go. So, and when we have an additional bond sale, we can begin construction on all those projects. So they are shovel ready, if you will. Neighborhood parks, AC Steer money was allocated. That project has been complete for some time. Airport Park, we've been in the design phase. $70,000 was allocated for design. We do not have the money for construction. Same way with CC Antoine. East Kings Highway, that project was a simple resurfacing, and that project was completed early on in this process. Fairgrounds Field, we have $150 allocated. We've done some demolition, have the money to do some other upgrades, and we are working on some private funding for the restroom needs there. Councilman Jenkins and I have been in conversation with a private donor that we hope will help us build the restrooms so that we can build the spray park. Since we began the bond issue process, there's...
Question.
Mhm.
Fairground Field.
That's
really
Fairgrounds
keep-
Park,
yeah.
but yeah.
Oh.
I'm sorry. Do you want me to go back to Fairgrounds Field?
Don't confuse the baseball field. with
Yeah,
what
but
she's talking
I'm
about now.
confusing the baseball.
Yeah,
Yes, sir, this is the park.
Okay, we
Yeah.
can go.
Okay, this is the park, and this is where a spray ground is to be built. And since we began the bond issue process, there is a new state law that requires restrooms anywhere you build a spray ground. And so we did not have the funding for the restroom, but we do, like I said, believe we have someone privately who will help us fund that. Oakland Cemetery, that project is complete. If many of you went when we did sort of the ribbon cutting or the the open house at the cemetery, that is complete. Sunset Acres, we have been in design phase. Construction will come in the second sale. Not to go through each of these, but you can look at them. All of these neighborhood park projects will be funded with future bond sales. None of these were sold in the first round, and so awaiting the second sale. Public safety, the construction of the new police property evidence room should be complete by June of this year. That project has moved right along, and they'll be ready to, like I said, move in June. Cross Lake Patrol, they have a whole new facility there, and it was completed in October of last year, and they've been in that building. If you haven't had a chance to take a look at it, but it's completed and finished. Fire stations, repairs and renovations, all three. We're working on site acquisition for fire station number 14, looking at site selection for number 17. And then there has been some minor renovations in some of the existing fire stations, and work is being identified and prioritized for the rest of that money. If you remember, they had 5.4 million, and about $1 million was for just in general maintenance in all the fire stations. And finally,
Can I ask one quick question? On that fire station deal, all that 5.8 was first bond sale?
5.4, yes. And yes, all of it was.
5.4 in the first sale.
And there was some bond proceeds. If you remember, we reallocated, got them to 5.8, but yes, it was on the first sale. I think if you remember, we did some legislation last year to change the project. There was originally a thought about a bigger station in one location, and so with the changes and now with property acquisition, it's slow. We actually thought we were going to be ready to go, but when we made that change, it slowed down the process. But yes, all that was sold in the first sale. And then finally, the upgrade to the financial and accounting system. It was originally $1 million. We had, again, some of those proceeds. We upped that budget to 1.5. Charles and his staff have been working really hard on the implementation of that, building all the, if you will, background information so that hopefully we begin using that system in the fall of this year. So that's where we are on Proposition 2, and I'll answer any questions that you might have.
Shelley, I have a couple. The 300,000 that we had allocated for Fairgrounds Field.
Right.
What did we specify that to be used for?
That was mostly ADA that was all ADA renovations. Okay. I know it makes me kind of smile too, but that everything has to be ADA accessible, including the officials' rooms, locker rooms, all of those things. So that's all that was for. It did not do any renovations to the facility.
And I was multitasking when you said this, but the Quirby's Clubhouse is expected to open when?
We are doing a final walkthrough on Friday. Hopefully, we will find it substantially complete, and we can begin moving in next week.
Then the final question I had is the money for the fire stations and the site selection. Is there any potential timeline of site selection, beginning acquisition of properties, a realistic timeline for that?
We have actually fire station number 14, which is on Greenwood Road. I think we have a location there. We've done an appraisal, and we're working with the property owner to see, if we can get that property maybe donated versus having to purchase it. So we are working on that. Fire Station 17, I know the chief's
Is
been...
that combining those two, is that still combining those two stations?
No, sir, I think if you want, the chief could probably talk a lot better about the operations of the fire department than I can, but I think what they found is, after really looking at that, the best idea was to keep a Fire Station 8 and a Fire Station 14 to better serve the community. And
I think that was a very good decision.
yeah, and y'all...
I think Sam might have helped him reach that decision.
I think we both was a little concerned about that decision, especially that one right by Greenwood Road and Broadway. That responds to both of our areas.
It does.
Mr. Chairman.
And I know when they're looking at site locations and making those selections, you know, a lot of it has to do with that service area. They have a circumference that they need to keep those stations in, and one of them for 14 meets, you know, all of those needs that they have looked at. Fire Station 17, I know the chief's been to look at a couple of pieces of property out in that Southern Hills area and trying to keep it in close proximity where it's located now. So we're working on that. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you, Shelley.
Thank y'all.
We'll move on to Robert and propositions 1 and 3.
Please. Robert is usually a little long-winded, so we settling in with Robert.
Unfortunately, Mr. Chairman, members of the council, Robert's a little overworked these days.
We gotta get Robert some help then.
But we are desperately trying. You know, it's a bit difficult to seemingly get engineers for the pay scale that we seem to be at right now. Were it not for the fact that Robert's been here since I started Lanier Junior High School back in 1977, we probably wouldn't be able to afford him. It's only inertia that's keeping him here. So.
All right.
Pretty much. But the one thing that he reminded me of yesterday, that he does not have, that his predecessor did have, and that is he doesn't have a Robert to call on.
That's true.
And not only does he not have a Robert, we also recently lost Andrew Zagers. So we are actually 2 engineers down.
Wow.
Within that office, and we are advertising yet again.
Yes, sir.
And I directed him on yesterday, Mr. Chairman, to have a conversation with the CAO to see what we may need to do in order to try and remedy that situation. But we cannot allow the efforts to address the engineering needs of this city to go lacking and go wanting because we can't afford to be able to effectively compete. We've got some good people who are here, and they're here because they want to be here. But in the environment that we're operating in right now, it's not 1977, it's 2014, and we got to make sure that we're competitive enough to be able to draw and attract the kind of talent that we need in order for Robert to do the job that he's doing. So,
Mr. Mayor, you and I had an old homeboy off the Cooper Road a few years ago to graduate from Tech with an engineering degree. He worked, I want to say, here for a while and then went over to Dallas. I don't know whether we'd be able to encourage him to come home or not. But you're right, if you're 2 engineers down, he needs some help.
Well, the sad news is that most folks who respond to the job description and the experience level that we put within our ad have an assumption that the salary that they will expect will have 6 figures in it as opposed to 5. As you all know, when it comes to attracting talent today, people who talk in 6-figure terms as opposed to 5-figure terms get a little bit more attention.
They do.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Well, Mr. Mayor, excuse me.
I say that he may not have much time to talk today because he needs to get back upstairs to get back to work.
I appreciate that. Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Mayor, Mr. Chairman, members of the council, I've asked Autumn Permiter and Ali Mustafa to help me give a presentation regarding our capital projects in the water and sewer and roadway end. And I'm going to let Autumn handle the water and sewer first in case there are specific questions that y'all have regarding those projects.
Okay. Again, I appreciate the opportunity to give you an update on this, and thank you, Mayor. I'll go over Proposition 1 for water and sewer. And in the interest of time, I'll go quickly, and please stop me if you have any questions at any point. For Proposition 1, our Amos water treatment plant projects, Plant 2E and raw water piping, are currently under construction, should be complete mid this year. 12 Mile Bayou is about 50% complete with design, and this is, construction will be pending the second bond sale. Citywide and wastewater system master plan, both of those are ongoing design, but we only have a portion from the first bond sale. Second bond sale will need to fund the rest of those projects. Cedar Grove trunk main, we have design. It's ongoing. It's, again, about 50% way through. We need construction dollars from the second bond sale. Corby's lift station, I'm proud to say, is completed at the beginning of this year. It looks great out there. If you have a chance, it's by the old El Chicos. We're very proud of that project. Broadmoor Outfall just recently opened for bids. McInnes Brothers was the low bidder on that, and it should start construction mid-2014. Delaware Lift Station is another recent, it's near about 99% complete, but we're wrapping that one as we speak. Wallace Interceptor, Southern Hills Interceptor, both of those are not yet funded, waiting on the second bond sale. Looney Lift Station is about halfway through design. It's smooth at this point. We anticipate mid-2014 to wrap that one up. West Shreveport and Huntington Lift Stations are additional projects that are waiting for the second bond sale. Wallace Force Main, design was in the first bond sale. Construction will be needed from the second bond sale. Design is about 50% of the way through. Cedar Grove Force Main is also not yet funded. Stoner Force Main, design is, I'd say, 90% complete, and construction dollars will be needed in the second bond sale. South Highland Lift Station, construction will be starting we're waiting on contracts right now, mid-year, should be construction starting. Cecil Gassett was the low bidder contractor for that job. Lucas North Regional, we're 99% done with design phase and also needing construction dollars from the second bond sale. Citywide Lift Station and miscellaneous lift station projects are ongoing. We only had a portion of the funds from the first bond sale, but there were ongoing projects, design and construction as the funds are available. Now I'll turn it over to Robert. Did you have any questions about the water and sewer?
Can you go back to the force mains? There was one.
Stoner or?
That page, it had Stoner on the same page.
Uh-oh. Sorry, we lost it.
There were some projects, maybe even on the slide before it. There were 4 that I think weren't funded yet. I just wanted to look at those again.
There was Wallace Force Main. We have the design for that one. That's about halfway through. The construction's not funded. Cedar Grove Force Main is not funded. Stoner Force Main is the design is near completion, about 90%. Construction dollars are not funded. I'm trying to think.
Wait, so the Stoner Force Main, the design's been done, and it's waiting for the second sale for the construction dollars.
Yes.
And of that $2 million, what has been spent? What was the design cost?
Okay, this one we had an ordinance to reallocate funds. I believe it was last year maybe, but Broadmoor Outfall, the design was complete first, so we took the money from Stoner Force Main and moved it to Broadmoor so we could get that one going in construction for this year.
Okay.
So, and the intent was to replace it with the next bond sale and put the construction dollars back in Stoner.
Okay, but I guess what I'm asking is, those dollars that were in that that was sufficient for them to finish the design, and then the remaining dollars were moved to another project where it could let the construction
But that was how it was originally given and approved.
Thank you. That answers my question.
Sorry, I should have clarified that in the slides. Any other questions for water and sewer?
Thanks, Arnold.
Thank you, Adam. Streets and drainage. Of this portion, $44.3 million was allocated in the bond issue for streets and drainage. Of this, we had $3 million allocated for sidewalk repair program, $1 million which was funded in the first bond sale. We have recently completed coordinating with the council members on the selection of the sidewalks to be repaired, and we're getting ready to bid that phase of that. Excuse me, the Murphy Street Viaduct. Well, originally the state was going to pay for a third of the construction cost, and the city was going to pay 2/3 of the construction cost. Fortunately, we were able to convince the DOTD to pay the entire construction cost of that project. So now we have $2.2 million available to the city to reallocate to other purposes as need be, and construction of the bridge will actually start this year. 9th Street, we allocated $288,000 of the bond issue. For design purposes, the remaining construction funds will come following the second bond sale. The traffic signal system, we allocated $146,000 for the design of the Kings Highway IT signal system, of which a portion of the construction funds will come from previous bond funds, as well as the current $2 million that's to be coming with the second sale of the bond. Of the citywide street improvement program, which was the largest share of that, there was $21 million for that program. $11 million was done in the first bond sale. Of those projects, we have completed Miriam Street, West Wilderness Way, Woodmont Avenue, Walker Road, Mackey Lane, Stoner Avenue, Rosary Lane sidewalks, Scenic at Tierra, Lakeshore Drive, 200 block of Holcomb, Jewell Avenue, I-20 to Greenwood Road, Jewell Avenue, I-20 to Hollywood. Of the projects that are currently under construction out of that program, we have Lewis and Carver Place, Midway Avenue in District G, Midway Avenue in District F, Carroll Street, Elvis Presley Boulevard median, Grover Street, which construction to begin shortly, and then Hersey D. Wilson, which we recently received bids on, and construction will be underway on that one very shortly too. The remaining projects that we're waiting for funding for either future design work or construction funds include Oakdale, C.E. Galloway, Kingston Road, South Kirkwood, Zeke Street, Greenway Street, Missouri Avenue, Woolworth Road, Ackert Street, Captain Street Drive. Lastly, Huntington, Ashbourne, Village Green, University Drive at 70th Street and Fairfield Avenue. That completes our roadway portion of the bond presentation. Are there any specific questions?
Go back to Missouri. I was trying to see what was the status on Missouri. It was the slide right before this one.
Okay, on Missouri, we are working on design of Missouri Street. We are doing curb and gutters and asphalt overlay on that particular project, and we're in the process of design. We're approximately 60% complete.
How about Ackert and Captain Tree?
Design on that one's 90% complete. We're awaiting funding with the second bond sale for construction.
On both?
On Ackert Street, yes, sir.
What about Captain Tree?
Captain Street, same position.
What about the previous slide, Oakdale?
Oakdale design for Oakdale is underway.
Somebody tried to complain.
And construction funds will follow with the second bond sale.
Have they started on the design?
Yes, sir. They're doing the survey work as we speak.
Okay.
And Greenway Street, I see it has to go through the A&E committee.
We have not committed any design funds for that one. All the projects in the initial $11 million have been allocated. As we're completing projects, we will see if funds are available in order to institute design of Greenway.
That Oakdale, Jeff might have another little street that he want to squeeze in there. You know, right over there behind Paradise. It's a block.
Mm-hmm.
What's the name of that street?
That's the one that we sent a letter on. Y'all should have gotten a letter maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago. It's a street right behind Paradise Baptist Church, and there was a letter that came from them. It didn't come from us, but we were copied. And
I spoke to the pastor and told him it would fit nicely in the second bond sale.
Okay, because Paradise is getting ready to spend about $3 million over there.
Yes, sir.
And
I think they were looking for both street improvements and some drainage improvements.
They were.
Right. But I think they probably go hand in hand.
Yes, sir, they do.
The street and Mr. Mayor, Mr. CEO, they in that area right in there, they might need to have SWEPCO to come out and maybe put 2 or 3 more little lights up on the poles. might need y'all to do that. All right.
Any other specific questions?
Same thing.
Okay, I'm gonna let Ollie discuss drainage with y'all and bring y'all up to date on the drainage portion.
Can you correct the
electronic for me, please?
There you go, just press the button to advance.
The drainage is very simple. We had the $12 million for the drainage from the bond issue. There was 4 major projects and 3 citywide projects in there. The major projects were, I'll start with the citywide drainage project. We had $1 million from the first bond sale, and we have $2 million pending the sale of the second bond. We used all the funding, and we had to borrow some money from the flood control for the acquisition of houses in there, because there was a lot of problems we had with the drainage system, and mostly this money is used when maintenance calls me. They have a collapsed drainage structure somewhere between houses or across the roadway, or we have some flooding problem somewhere in the residential neighborhood, so we do some small projects. We did a total of about 18 projects so far from this bond issue citywide. I don't have it by council district, but the last one we did, we just finished one in Hoyt. It's in Councilman Webb's district. There was a box culvert going across the road in there. It collapsed. The road started falling. You can see the cracks on the road this wide. So Streets and Drainage called me, and we had to do a quick emergency project. We went in there and replaced it. So this is that's the best use of that money we had. It's helping our maintenance department keeping up with things, because if we don't do that, we're going to be closing roads right and left, and it will be a big problem for us. The other citywide drainage issue is the paved drainage ditch repairs, and every time we have a big rain event, it's almost, we have some erosion, we have some concrete ditch panels that collapse, and they cause obstruction and cause problems in there. So Streets and Drainage usually call me. We go in there and put the project together quickly, and we go in there and do the repairs as needed. And so far we did we had only $600,000 from the first bond sale. We used all of it except for about $75,000, so we only have $75,000 left. The next one we have is the purchase of flood-prone properties. We started the acquisition in the area in Nash Street. This is the area that floods all the time when the bayou in there, and it's close proximity to where I-49 construction is taking place. So we felt that's the best place to start and expand this money. So we already working. We did the appraisals in a lot of the houses in Nash Street, and we're in the process of acquiring them. We haven't completed the acquisition yet, but we're in the process of acquiring them. And that's the project we moved $400,000 by an ordinance earlier this year to citywide drainage, where we needed the funds more for other needs. And once we sell the bonds for the second phase, we're going to put the money back in. The other funded project was Juniper Place ditch.
Stop right there.
Yes, sir.
You moved money from where?
We moved money from purchase flood-prone properties. We moved $400,000 to citywide drainage, pending the second sale of the bond money, so we can put the money back in the same place.
Okay. I need you to give me a detailed report on where we are with 17, 12, 24, 17, and 21 Nash Street after the meeting.
I sure will.
All right.
We have all the appraisals, and I think Wayne is working on the offers with the property owners.
Okay.
And the other project that was funded for design and construction in Juniper Place, it was in District D, and we finished the project. As a matter of fact, we just completed the closeout of the project, and the project came under budget for about a little bit, $110,000 under budget. So we saved about $110,000 we can use on other projects. Browning Street, we completed the design, and we completed acquisition of all the properties we need in there to do the project. We're just waiting on the second sale of the bond so we can go to construction. Airport ditch, we finished the design, we started construction. We are almost about 35% complete with construction, so it's under construction right now. The bids we took, it came under budget, so it came about $300,000 under the budget. So we might need some money with the change orders here and there as we proceed with construction, but I think it will come under budget. We might have about $200,000 in there to spare to use somewhere else if needed. Oakley Ditch, I'm sure all of you heard the story yesterday. It's funded only for design. We completed the design. We're only waiting in the acquisition of the right-of-way. And I have good news for you. Tomorrow I have a meeting with Donna Curtis and James Mayer with the Osborne Funeral Home. And today, Wayne Goss was able to locate one of the Sears realtors out of Chicago. He knows him through his association, Real Estate Association, so he's communicating with him, and he promised to help him out, get the servitude from Sears. But tomorrow, I'm hoping we can resolve Shreveport Degree and an Osborne Funeral Home tomorrow in a meeting I have with them. So hopefully that will work out, and we'll be able to acquire all the servitudes needed for the construction. Other than that, after we get the funding from the second bond sale, we should be able to put it out for bids. And that concludes all the drainage projects.
Any questions?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
All right.
Going back to the Chase Island.
There you go.
Yeah, right there, the 10,000 block.
Yeah, the 10
Is that the end that backs up to those neighbors that are coming off Williamson Way?
Yes, that's exactly what it backs up in there. There's a lot of drainage coming in there from
Yeah.
that neighborhood, and causing flooding of 2-3 houses in there.
Yeah,
We had to
okay.
go do a drainage system and capture the water and take it underground before it causes a problem.
Okay, good, okay, because I know that's where it's coming downhill, so.
It
okay.
was.
All right, thank you.
Thank you,
I have
Ali.
a que- I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm just concerned, you know, based on a lot of the drainage needs in the MLK community. And I know we had a citizens bond committee as well as recommendations made through this administration. I'm just concerned about the lack of attention that's actually being given due to, you know, the new housing developments and everything that has come. Over 1,500 have come into the community. Have the city at some point taken a look at, and I'm not being selfish, Oliver, the MLK community, because the drainage is terrible. And since we've brought in, since 2004, 2006, 2007, we've brought in, I know, over 1,500 additional units to this community, and yet there's no drainage. Have the city, at what point in time have the city looked at this in the process of bringing in all of these developments, or have we? Or why is it that it hasn't been addressed as far as the drainage, overall drainage problem in this community?
We did. We have a big master plan of MLK for any improvements that needed in there. And we have continuously, I've been with the city now 24 years, and we have been continuously spending money in there. And drainage, we started with the big ditches, MLK ditch and Lanier Street, Audrey Lane. We did a lot of drainage in there along David Drains and all that. But most of the roadways in there, they are roadside ditches where usually the water doesn't drain that well because the area is flat and there's not very well defined outfalls. So we did improve a lot of the ditches. And in 2005, 2006, we targeted a lot of areas in there, the roadside ditch, because our maintenance department was kind of backlogged and they couldn't do a lot of work. We spent almost like $2 million in areas like around Fisher Street and down close to David Drains and Lanier in there. We targeted the entire area where we went completely removed and replaced all the driveway culverts, all the ditches. Based on the money we had money in that bond issue back then when Hightower was in office. We were able to get about $2 million to do that, to help our maintenance department, because they were screaming and hollering for help. They couldn't keep up with the demand, going in there, grading the ditches and replacing culverts. So we were able to get $2 million to go in there and do that. And something like that is needed in the future.
So
There's no question
has there been like
about
an
it.
assessment, for instance, we did the street pavement
We do.
management
We have a
assessment. That
master-
was a form of assessment.
We do,
of
yeah.
Street priorities. Have we done an assessment?
Yes, ma'am. We have a master drainage plan for all that area and improvements that needed down the road. What future improvements needed for Martin Luther King area.
And so it's just a matter of having monies or fundings to, but we know where the need is. Is
Yes,
that what I'm
yes, ma'am.
understanding you to say?
We definitely do.
Okay, so that means during my next term of service as city councilman, then I need to be getting with you and working with you a little closely pertaining to that assessment.
Just get me money and I'll get the job done for you.
So you need
Oh, what I
money,
need
right?
money.
All right.
Although we need money.
So District A, we need money. Thank you so much.
And to piggyback on that, District F needs money, District G
Yes,
needs
yes,
money,
yes.
District C
District E.
needs money. We just need money all over the city, so it ain't no thing that we just need money in one area.
No,
We
sir.
need money, okay, that's.
We have a
that's
master
what we
plan
think.
of the entire city.
That would unleash
We have a
some of
drainage
that.
master plan for.
Second bond sale that would unleash some of that money, Mr.
Well, I think that's what Oliver's trying to get over to you, Mr. Mayor. that
Yeah, we have a master
second
plan of the
bond,
entire needs for
yeah,
the
we
city.
can come together on who the financial advisor is gonna be, we'll be able to release some of that money. Now, when that would be, I don't know.
Yes, sir.
Okay. But we all need money.
Definitely.
Right, we all need money.
We need more we need way more than what we have.
That's right. You did a fine job.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you,
very
Robert.
much.
Thank you, Autumn. Thank you, Shelley. And Mr. Chairman.
Chairman Shine, would you think that'll be addressed with this council?
What, coming together on the financial advisor?
Right, you think this council will have?
You know,
an
I would hope
opportunity?
so, if I can bring my Bible down here and read some scriptures. It's a possibility, but, if not, we'll just have to wait and see. Okay.
Mr. John?
Yes, sir.
In line with that, since we've done the presentation, I want you to know that as an administration, that we are open to engaging in a dialogue with this council to come to some resolution of that matter, because the one constant refrain that you just heard all of these folks who have stood before you and the rest of this council and the citizens of the city of Shreveport is second bond sale. And these are projects that have all been voted on. I'm sitting here today looking right now at vote totals from 2011 of 61.53% and over 8,000 votes on Proposition 1, 56.93% and 7,641 votes on Proposition 2, 59.66% on 7,927 votes, all in favor. Those are thousands and thousands and thousands of votes that folks have voted and cast in favor of projects, an average of 60% when you average out all three that are waiting to go forward. Now, we've got a dog park that only 7 people voted on that is lined up, queued up, and ready to go. And none of the citizens
gave us the money for that.
Nobody gave you tax money. That's tax money that came from the taxpayers of the taxing district that's made up of the Red River Waterway Commission. So it's not
City of Shreveport, though.
It's not free money.
not
It's
City of
tax money.
Shreveport, though.
Whether it comes from my left pocket, my right pocket, my back pocket, my shirt pocket, it's all tax dollars.
It's still different,
And
sir.
so there's
But
never.
Mr. Mayor, please, let's don't get into that. It's different. We understand.
Mr. Shine, that is
Yeah.
absolutely something for us to get into, because again,
No,
you have
Mr. Mayor.
you have the folks of Stoner Hill who are getting a dog park that
No.
they didn't vote for or ask for, and we are holding up
No,
a
Mr.
$1.5
Mayor, but you
million
have more than 7
improvement to
people.
Valencia Park that they
Mr. Mayor,
did vote for.
Mr. Mayor,
And so-
you are a Christian young man, and I know that you would not sit there and give out some erroneous information. There's
well,
more than
that-
7
that-
people
that-
who want a dog park.
That's why it's above the board, above the table, and a part of this open discussion.
Well, we're gonna,
with
Mr.
Ms.
Mayor, we're gonna
Burris
keep
and
it
all the
above
other
the
members of
table,
the media and
below
all
the
the
table.
world watching. It's not a,
Look,
it's not a
Mr.
backroom discussion, it's not a
Mr.
side
Mayor,
room discussion.
Mr.
It's
Mayor,
one that
we're
we
not
need to
trying to
have
make this a back
before
room.
the citizens of the city of Shreveport, Mr.
Mayor,
Shine.
we're not trying to make this a backroom discussion, but you keep on bringing this up like it's the council's fault. You know, this is a compromise on the administration and the council. I mean, as chairman of the council, I've had council members that tell me, well, you know, Mr. Chairman, we are ready to go forward if we can get some compromise out of the mayor. Now, we don't get any compromise out of the mayor if it's gonna be his way or the highway. You know, we're just not gonna operate like that. So, you know,
Mr.
Mr.
Shine,
Mayor,
you and the
look,
council have done your investigation.
Look.
Had you come
Look.
up with some sort of a finding that would constitute
Look.
wrongdoing
Look.
or inappropriate behavior,
Look. Let's
then
move on.
we would be
Look.
willing to address.
Look, let's move on with the
and deal with
agenda.
those
Let's
things,
move
Mr.
on
Shine.
with the agenda, and then we'll come back to this.
You've
No,
done that.
No,
You've
no.
not found anything
No.
that represents any sort of wrongdoing, and yet
Mr.
you
Mayor.
still insist upon not taking any action that allows what the
Mr.
people
Mayor.
of this city have voted for.
Mr. Mayor.
Now, you just
Mr.
asked
Mayor.
for an
Mr.
update,
Mayor.
Mr. Shine,
Wait a
on
minute,
these
Mr. Mayor.
bond
You had
projects
them to come up
from
and give their
2011.
report. Mr. Mayor, you had them to come up and give their report.
Those
We have
projects have
accepted
been
their
ready to go,
report.
shovel
We
ready
understand.
for over a year and a half,
Look,
Mr. Shine.
Look, we understand
A
where
year
we
and a
are.
half,
And
Mr.
if you
Shine.
want to do this call
They
a
are
news
a year and a
conference,
half ready.
Mr. Mayor, I'm going to ask
They
the chairman.
represent jobs.
I'm going to ask the chairman
They
to move
represent
on.
improvement.
I mean, I'm going to ask
They
the clerk to
represent
move
an
on with the
opportunity
agenda.
to
Now,
advance and push this city forward, Mr.
if you
Shine.
want to do this politicking,
And
call a news
and
conference.
yet, you insist upon not addressing the issue. Now, if you give me some reason or some substance as to why
Madam
we
Clerk.
should not continue to use the professionals that we
Madam
use,
Clerk,
Mr. Shine,
would you
we'd be
move
willing to
on?
address those.
Would you move on with the agenda,
And the
please?
fact that you want to move
And we'll
on,
come
Mr.
back to
Shine,
this.
and that none of your colleagues want to engage in this as a public discussion, and
Go on,
to
read the
for the
agenda.
citizens to see a public resolution of this issue
Let him keep
is
on talking.
indicative
Go
of
on,
the
read
fact
the agenda.
that there must not be a lot for you or the council to stand on.
I think
We're gonna
in
move,
public-
I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. I think it's Ms. Farnell. Is Ms. Farnell here with,
Property standards
yeah, with property standards?
report.
Please come up.
Ms. Shine, is this not an issue that the citizens of this city don't deserve to see me as their mayor and you?
Ms.
As the
Farnell, do
seven
you want
members
to come
of
up and
their
give your
council
report,
have
or do
a
you want
public
to keep on
discussion and
down?
dialogue regarding?
Because I know you work for
Ms.
the mayor,
Shine?
but this is the council meeting.
Ms. Shine, is this not an
Mr.
issue?
Mayor, Mr. Mayor, we'll
Is
come
this
back
not
to,
an issue
Mr.
that
Mayor,
deserves a public discussion?
Mr. Mayor, we will come back to this. You know how the city council feels on this. If what you're doing is politicking on this.
No, I'm not
and this
politicking,
is not what we
Mr.
need at
Shine.
this point.
I'm not
Mr. Mayor.
politicking. I'm attempting to engage and
Mr.
conduct
Mayor.
the business of this city.
Mr. Mayor, this is
So
a,
I've
Mr. Mayor,
had
this is a
private
council meeting.
sit-down
And
meetings.
this is what we're about.
I've had dialogue one-on-one in small groups. And so now I'm asking, let's have that public discussion and dialogue here in this setting. There's been an effort to try and resolve.
Mr. Mayor.
There's been $53,000 placed into an escrow account.
Mr. Mayor, I'm
There's been
chairman of
a
the council.
commitment to engage in binding
Mayor, I'm
arbitration.
chairman of the council, so I'm denying that we would have that discussion at this particular time. Ms. Farnell, we're ready for you. If not, we'll move on.
Is that a meeting we can schedule, Mr. Shine?
Sure, it's a meeting that we can schedule. And we'll have all the news media here. I'm waiting on you, Ms. Farnell.
I'm going to assume that they're all here. If not in person, they're certainly watching this broadcast.
We have no public hearing.
Ms. Farnell, please, if you have a property standards update to provide, please do so.
Do you now? If you don't, we're gonna move on.
No, I came up to see if you all needed anything. I don't have.
Oh, no,
reports.
anybody have any questions for Ms. Farnell? If not, Ms. Farnell, thank you.
Ms. Warner, someone explained to me that Mr. Dotson was here today. Are you familiar with that?
Yes, he was. I don't see him.
Mr.
Was
Dotson?
here, and sitting in the rear, but he may have left. I don't see him here.
I think he
now.
may be visiting with the chief
Oh, okay.
on some issues.
All right, well, we'll just maybe come back to it later then.
Okay, then.
I was informed that Mr. Dotson in my district was here.
He was.
To address the property standards issue.
He was here,
Okay.
but I don't see him in here now.
All right.
Yes, ma'am.
And Dorothy, what I was motioning there a moment ago was just to make sure that you and Terry had a chance to talk about the Lawrence Street properties.
Yes.
And so I figured, she seemed to indicate that y'all had, but just want
Yes.
to make sure y'all get a chance to talk.
Yes, we've talked about it. Yes, sir.
Thank you, Ms. Farnell.
Okay.
Okay, Mr. Thompson is absent because of a little personal problem. And in case the council members don't know, and we have a very, very competent person that will step in at this particular time.
Where she at?
Wait. Look at that. That's your friend over there. We have no legislation to be added to the agenda.
We
Am I
have no
understanding
public
that?
hearing, and we have a tax levy announcement and one piece of legislation to add.
Okay, you wanna read that?
Mr. Chairman, there was a new statute, Louisiana Revised Statute 4219.1, enacted in 2013 that requires the city council to give two kinds of advance notice, 30 to 60 days before it levies any tax. Since the authorized ad valorem tax are levied every year, we are now required to give advance notice every year before levying those taxes. The two kinds of tax notices are a newspaper advertisement and an announcement at a public meeting of the city council. The newspaper advertisement has already been run, and this announcement is for the purpose of meeting the second requirement. The public is hereby notified that the City Council of the City of Shreveport intends to introduce 3 ordinances to levy the authorized annual ad valorem taxes of the City of Shreveport and the Downtown Development District of the City of Shreveport, listed below, at its regular meeting, which will be held Tuesday, May 13, 2014, beginning at 3 p.m. in the Government Chambers at Government Plaza, 505 Travis Street. Said ordinances will also be discussed at its administrative conference on May 12, 2014, but no action will be taken at that meeting. The public is further notified that the City Council intends to adopt 3 ordinances to levy the authorized annual ad valorem taxes of the City of Shreveport and the Downtown Development District of the City of Shreveport listed below at its regular meeting, which will be held Tuesday, May 27, 2014, beginning at 3 p.m. and in the Government Chambers at Government Plaza, 505 Travis Street. Said ordinances will also be discussed at its administrative conference on May 23, 2014, but no action will be taken at that meeting. The 3 ordinances are as follows. An ordinance levying various taxes totaling 17 and 65/100 mills per dollar on all property subject to ad valorem taxation within the City of Shreveport for the year 2014 in the amounts and for the purposes described herein, and otherwise providing with respect thereto.
Let me ask the city attorney right quick. Is that legislation that needs to be added to the agenda today?
No, Mr. Chairman, it does not need to be added today, but we decided to put it at this point on the agenda because the statute requires that we sort of give advance notice that we're going to be putting them on the agenda.
Okay.
So she's almost finished. She's just going to read the 3 titles. And
all right, we just
that will
wanted to be
finished.
clear, so if Oliver was ready to make the motion to add it if we needed to.
Right.
On the edge of my seat, so to speak.
Yeah,
That's where I was
yeah,
in that regard.
The second one is an ordinance levying a tax of 22 and 5/100 mills per dollar on all property subject to ad valorem taxation within the City of Shreveport for the year 2014 for the purpose of paying principal and interest on the outstanding general obligation bonds of the City of Shreveport and otherwise providing with respect thereto. And the third one, an ordinance levying tax of 8 and 64/100 mills per dollar on all property subject to ad valorem taxation within the bounds of the Downtown Development District of the City of Shreveport as defined by Act 554 of 1978 as amended for the city for the year 2014 for the purposes as set forth herein and otherwise providing with respect thereto.
All right, now, do we have any questions from the council pertaining to that information? If not, do we have any questions from the administration pertaining to that information? Now, not bond sales, but that, okay.
We have resolution 74 to be added. We have 2 on the electronic agenda. I think we're only going to add 1.
Okay, you want to
Resolution
read that, please?
74 is a resolution to suspend certain provisions of Chapter 10 relative to alcoholic beverages at Superior Bar and Grill Restaurant for the celebration of Cinco de Mayo on Saturday, May 3rd, 2014, and to otherwise provide with respect thereto.
Can,
We need a vote to add.
okay, let me ask the city attorney, is that to be passed on for today, or is that to lay over?
It can be
Be
passed
passed
today, yes.
today? Okay, okay. Okay, I will now open it up. Is it anyone that would like to speak in opposition of adding the legislation to the agenda? Is there anyone who would like to speak in favor of adding the legislation to the agenda? If not, I would accept the motion. It has been moved by Councilman Oliver Jenkins, second by Councilman Mike Corrigan, that we would add this. All in favor vote yes, opposed is no. The legislation has been added with a 7-0 vote. Legislation has been added with a 7-0 vote. Okay, thank you very much. Public comments on the agenda for items that we are to look at today. I believe we have one. My brother Marvin T. Muhammad.
Yes, sir. Marvin Muhammad. I'm here representing the...
Let me ask this. Councilman Jenkins, did you plan to for us to go forth with this today, or did you plan for this piece of legislation to be postponed?
What is this we're talking about? What are we talking about?
Public safety.
Your piece of legislation that's coming out of public safety.
That's what, is that, I didn't know if that's what he was here to.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's what he's here to talk
No,
about.
we intend to postpone that matter. We have some additional language that we want to address in the ordinance before we present it to the council. We hope to have everything ready, hopefully at the next council meeting.
If that's the case, I reserve my comments today.
Well, what I was about to say, I wanted to extend a hand of kindness to you and tell you if you wanted to, if you wanted to make this known before we put it in there, it could help, or it could, I just wanted to give you an opportunity because you're down here.
What are the amendments that we are speaking about, Councilman Jenkins, Sam Jenkins?
I'll be more than happy to discuss that with you a little later.
Okay, I'm gonna take the recommendation of the author of the ordinance to go ahead and postpone, and I'll get with him at that time.
Okay, because I thought, I was saying on yesterday that he was the author of this piece of legislation.
Right.
So if you want to discuss with him later, that would be fine with me, and I know it would be fine with other members of the council.
Chairperson, did
Yes.
we discuss tabling this on yesterday at the?
Postponing.
Yeah, we,
On it yesterday?
yeah, we discussed it, but sometimes we can discuss something one day and then somebody will change their mind the next day, and I just didn't want nobody to think Councilwoman McCullough that I overlooked them.
Okay.
I'd rather, I'd rather give you an opportunity than to say I overlooked anybody. But Marvin, we appreciate it, and if you want to discuss it with the author in private, that will be fine with me. Appreciate you coming down.
Thank you. We will take Councilman Jenkins' advice, and also we'll also be reaching out to other councilmen as well. I know Councilman Oliver Jenkins. He reached me when he was out in Houston. I was actually out in San Francisco at the time, so we'll be getting with you as well.
Okay.
Getting with
So
you
you
as
did
well.
get I just want to make sure you got me calling.
Yeah, I'm over here looking at.
Okay. No, but I
Jeff
did call you
Everson.
back.
Right.
Okay.
Good deal.
I
Thank you.
think he's probably looking over that way, Oliver, because it might be a better sight over there than looking at you.
I understand that. I can certainly appreciate that.
Thank you,
When
sir.
you say so, Councilwoman McCullough.
I agree.
There you go. There you go. There you go. That's after my own heart. Okay. I think that's about all for public comments. Mr. Sibley, we have no confrontation of confirmation of appointments
That's
today,
correct,
do we?
Mr. Chairman, we have none.
Okay.
We have
I
nothing.
almost
on-
said Mr. Thompson. Okay, Miss.
We have
Miss-
nothing on consent agenda, under, introduction of routine ordinances or to adopt ordinances and resolution. Under regular agenda legislation, resolutions on second reading and final passage, 61 is authorizing the use of certain equipment by the North Shreveport Business Association and to
Been
otherwise
moved by
provide with
Councilwoman
respect
McCullough,
thereto.
second by Councilman Jeff Everson. Any questions or discussion? If not, all in favor vote yes, opposed is no. This piece of legislation passes with a...
We hadn't voted yet.
Wait a minute. What's taking y'all so long?
Coming up slow.
I
you
have a
voted?
problem here with
Yeah.
the system.
I don't think you have.
Yeah, I have. I raised my hand. I mean,
There you go.
I had a hand vote.
May have to
You
do
want us to
that.
do a hand vote?
There it is. It's up.
Huh? It's up now? Okay.
Okay.
And then, for some reason, Councilman Webb, I kind of have the power to look into the future.
Is that
Did we
what
get a
it is?
7-0 vote?
I'm
All
gonna-
right, we got 7-0 vote.
I'm gonna
See
throw
that?
you off in a minute.
Dale, you hear that? And he wants to mess with me. He wants to mess with me, Ron. That's not fair. What is he?
Resolution 62, authorizing the use of certain equipment by Sports Spectrum Race Management.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved by Councilman Mike Carvin, second by Councilman Oliver Jenkins. Any questions or discussion at this time? If not, all in favor vote yea and nay. And we passes with a 7-0 vote.
Resolution
Now,
65,
all right that time.
suspending the effects of certain provisions of Chapter 102 of the Shreveport Municipal Code relative to bus fares on Sportran buses for Thursday, June 19, 2014, for a National Dump the Pump Day celebration.
Been moved by Councilman Jeff Everson, second by Councilman Oliver Jenkins. All in any questions or discussion? If not, all in favor vote yea and nay. Legislation passes with the 7-0 vote.
Resolution 66, suspending the effects of sections 10-190 and 10-192 and section 62-62A of the City of Shreveport Code of Ordinances relative to the historic South Highlands Neighborhood Association.
So moved.
It's been moved by
Second.
Councilman Jeff Everson, second by Councilman Oliver Jenkins. Any questions or discussion at this point? If not, all in favor vote yes, opposed is nay. This piece of legislation
Ms. McCullough,
passes with the 7-0 vote.
Ms. McCullough, thank you.
Resolution 67, declaring the city's interest in certain adjudicated properties as surplus. This is a resolution with city properties.
Okay, it's been moved by the chair, second by
Second.
Sam Jenkins, Councilman Jenkins, I'm sorry. Sam, forgive me, please. Any questions or discussion? If not, all in favor vote yea or nay. This piece of legislation passes with a 7-0 vote.
Remember, that's Jenkins the Elder is how we like it.
Oh, okay. Sam, you check that out.
Just to distinguish it for the record.
Okay.
Resolution 68, declaring the city's interest in certain adjudicated property as surplus. This is with
Second.
Paris City adjudication.
Been moved by Councilman Jeff Everson, second by the elder, no, I'm sorry, Councilman Sam Jenkins. All in favor vote yea and nay. Sam, he almost convinced me there. Oliver, you gotta cut that out, Oliver.
Very convincing guy.
Resolution 69, urging and requesting the state to adopt special signage to designate streets and highways named for veterans, active duty military, or military activities.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved by Councilman Sam Jenkins, second by Councilman Oliver Jenkins. All in favor vote yea, opposed is nay. I'm sorry, it passes with a 7-0 vote.
We have the add-on Resolution 74, a resolution to suspend certain provisions of Chapter 10 relative to alcoholic beverages at Superior Bar and Grill Restaurant for the celebration of Cinco de Mayo.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved by Councilman Oliver Jenkins, second by Councilwoman Rose McCullough. Any questions or discussion? All in favor vote yea, opposed is nay. This piece of legislation passes with the 7-0 vote.
We're on introduction of resolutions not to be adopted prior to April 22nd. Resolution 70, stating the City of Shreveport endorsement of Petroleum Building LLC to participate in the benefits of the City Restoration Tax Abatement Program. There is a public hearing to be held on May 13th, 2014. Resolution 71, authorizing the institution of expropriation proceedings against certain described property within the City of Shreveport in connection with the Murphy Street Park project, parcel number P6. Resolution 72, authorizing the City of Shreveport to proceed with the remarketing of the remaining principal balance of $48,855,000 Louisiana local government environmental facilities and community development authority revenue bonds, Shreveport Utility System Project Series 2005 with Capital One Public Funding LLC, making such modifications and or amendments to the bond documents as or required to effectuate such remarketing, making any necessary notification to the City State Bond Commission for approval of related fees. And Resolution 70, authorizing the City of Shreveport, the city, to proceed with the remarketing of the remaining principal balance of $39,085,000 Louisiana Local Government Environmental Facilities and Community Development Authority Revenue Refunding Bonds, Shreveport Convention Center Hotel Project, Series 2008, with Regions Capital Advantage, Inc., making such modifications and or amendments to the bond documents as are required to effectuate such remarketing, making any necessary notification to the Louisiana State Bond Commission for approval of related fees.
So move for introduction.
All right, Councilman Jenkins, you did an excellent job by authoring all that legislation. It has been moved by the author, Councilman Oliver Jenkins, been seconded by his assistant, Councilman Sam Jenkins. Any questions or discussion? If not, all in favor vote yes. Opposed is no. Gentlemen, y'all did a fine job. The legislation will be introduced with a 7-0 vote. It will lay over for 2 weeks. At that time, it may or may not be acted upon. Please move on.
Introduction of ordinances not to be adopted prior to April 22nd, 2014. Ordinance 35, authorizing the mayor to execute all necessary instruments to affect the exchange of certain immovable property owned by the city of Shreveport for certain immovable property owned by Louisiana CVS Pharmacy, LLC. Ordinance 36, amending and reenacting Article 4 of Chapter 30 of the Code of Ordinance relative to fireworks. Ordinance 37, amending and reenacting Chapter 10 of the Code of Ordinance relative to alcoholic beverages. Ordinance 38, amending the 2014 capital improvements budget. Ordinance 39, annexation, tag number 13-202, enlarging the limits and boundaries of the city of Shreveport. A 14.78 acre tract of land located east of Norris Ferry Road and south of Hidden Trace subdivision located in section 28, township 16 north, range 13 west, Kettle Parish, Louisiana, and to otherwise provide with respect thereto. A public hearing to be held April 22nd, 2014. Ordinance 40, annexation tag number 14-01, enlarging the limits and boundaries of the city of Shreveport, a 21.235 acre tract of land located north of Southern Loop and west of Norris Ferry Road, located in section 19 and 20, township 16 north, range 13 west, Kettle Parish, Louisiana. And a public hearing to be held April 22nd as well.
It's been moved by Councilman Oliver Jenkins for introduction, second by Councilman Mike Corbin. Any questions or discussion at this point? Kind of like to say when you get married, speak now, forever hold your peace. Okay.
Mr. Corbin?
The legislation has been added with a 7-0 vote.
Introduced. Ordinances on second reading and final passage. Ordinance 10, I think, y'all decided to postpone that one?
Yeah, move to postpone ordinance number 10.
Okay, it's been moved by Councilman Sam Jenkins and been seconded by Councilman Ron Webb to postpone this at this particular time. All in favor vote yes, opposed is no.
Let me see. If I could, Mr.
Sure,
Chairman. I'd like for the members of the committee to see if we can meet, Solid Waste Committee, to see if we can meet on August the 21st. That's the Monday.
August
about-
the April. We may.
April
August the
21st.
21st. You definitely put
Long
that
range
one back.
planning.
Your board will not impact any future elections. That's clear, I think.
No. April the 21st.
April what?
April the 21st. That's the
Taking cues from your namesake.
That's our next work session.
At what time?
2 o'clock.
Hey, Jackie, you got that?
Yes.
April 21st at 2.
Yeah, and just remember, if you have some suggestions or concerns, to go ahead and email those in to Miss Jackie, so that we can kind of circulate that amongst one another. And I think we're just trying to clean up some areas of the ordinance so we can come back with some recommendations to the council.
Yes, Oliver.
Just so we're clear, we're really focused on this, not in the bulk part, but
That's correct.
those other, I'll call them administrative changes, but I mean, they're significant, don't get me wrong, but that's kind of the focus of this, just so. I'm clear.
Absolutely, that's
Okay.
correct.
And, Jackie, I don't know who does this, you, B, Dale, but make sure you get this meeting out in the paper. So if we have someone that's concerned about this, they won't necessarily call and want to sit and meet with me and Mike?
It will be posted.
Okay, please. So that any concerned citizen will have an opportunity to come down and, because we do serve at the pleasure of the people.
Ordinance 28 is amending and reenacting Articles 9 and 10 of Chapter 42 of the Code of Ordinances relative to peddlers, solicitors, itinerant vendors, and charitable solicitation.
Move to postpone to the next meeting.
Okay. It's been moved by Councilman Sam Jenkins, I believe.
That is correct. To postpone
And
to the
second by
next
Councilman Oliver Jenkins.
Yes, sir.
All right, to postpone
Until the next meeting.
till the next meeting. All in favor, vote yes. Opposed is no. Madam Clerk, will you make a notation of that?
Yes, sir. Ms. McCullough, Mr. Webb, and Mr. Everson, please.
Okay.
Ordinance 29, amending the 2014 capital improvements budget.
Okay.
So moved.
It's been moved by Councilman Oliver Jenkins, second by Councilman Jeff Everson. Any questions or discussion at this point? If not, all in favor vote yea. Opposed is nay. This legislation passes with a 7-0 vote.
Ordinance 30, closing and abandoning a portion of the 10-foot wide alleyway running south of Piermont Road between Henderson and Willard Avenues in the Southside Park Annex located in Section 24, Township 17, North, Range 14 West, Kettle Parish, Louisiana.
So moved.
Been moved by Councilman Oliver Jenkins, second by Councilman Mike Carvin. Any questions or discussion at this point? If not, all in favor vote yea. Opposed is nay. This piece of legislation passes with the 7-0 vote.
Ordinance 31, declaring the city's intention to acquire full ownership of certain adjudicated properties for the Hope Connection project.
So moved.
It's been moved by Councilman Jeff Everson, second by Councilwoman Rose McCullough. Any questions of Councilman Oliver Jenkins?
There was some discussion about possibly sending us a map on those properties. And the only reason I want to bring it up is when you Google Earth it, it shows it where I don't believe the actual lots are being.
It's attached.
Malcolm went out to dinner with his wife last night, just as Councilman Corbin did, but he did come in early this morning, so he could be prepared to have this for you,
I
Councilman.
did, and
Oliver Jenkins.
I thought it was linked to the legislation,
I
Councilman.
need to refresh.
Yeah, it's there.
Stand by. If that's all I need to do, then.
No, but they are across the street.
They are.
They are across the street, that's correct.
I mean, I'm not opposed to this. I have to say from some aspect, we never end up in a great scenario where we're trying to push parking across the street from the place. But, I mean, I certainly want to give them every opportunity to move forward, and maybe we need to, work harder collectively on this council to make some contacts with the adjacent property owner that some of his underutilized space there that might be more appropriate for this reason. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Ordinance 32.
I'm sorry, let me,
Did we vote
Mr.
on it?
Oliver Jenkins, Sam Jenkins, and Councilman Sherman, please.
I'm sorry, legislation passes with the 7-0 vote.
Ordinance 32, amending Section 50-188 of the Code of Ordinances.
Can I get a?
Which one?
Yes. Motion.
This is the Sportran advertising.
Oh, okay, it's been moved by Councilman Jeff Everson, second by
Is that the zoning change?
No, that's the
Sportran advertising.
Mike Carvin.
Yeah.
All in favor vote yes, opposed is no. This piece of legislation passes with the 7-0 vote.
Mr. Webb, please.
Appreciate what y'all are doing with the sports grant.
Ordinance 33, zoning, C 11-14, an ordinance amending Chapter 106 of the Code of Ordinances, the City of Shreveport zoning ordinance by rezoning property located within Kingwood Business Center, Shreveport, Kettle Parish, Louisiana, from B2A Business Park District to B2AE Business Park Extended Use District, limited to a cosmetology school only.
So moved. I have a question I want
Yeah.
to ask Gene if he'd come up. I'll ask while he's on the way up here. What's the difference in a B2A and a B2AE? I mean, well,
We
there's
get a second?
stipulations on here. I
I'll
can't
second it.
imagine.
Well, the B2A is a district that's primarily comprised of heavier uses other than business uses like construction, offices, and things of that nature. That entire shopping center was changed to that designation some time ago. This particular use is really more conducive to your normal B2, B3 retail. And so to get there from this district, they went to an extended use district, which named specifically the cosmetology school.
Well, that's a good location for that.
I do,
so
too.
I don't have any problem with it at all. Okay.
And I think that when they built that shopping area, I think that might have been what it was designed for.
It had a little bit of everything in
Yeah.
it.
Changed to a B2A later after.
Right, right, but it was designed for what you're doing now. All in favor, vote yea. Opposes. I think, it's been moved by Councilman Webb, second by Councilman Oliver Jenkins. Any questions? Well, we've had the questions. All in favor, vote yea. Nay. This piece of legislation passes with a 7-0 vote.
Six.
Well, I was hoping that Jeff would come back. Yeah,
He voted for you, left.
vote Jeff.
I think I already did.
No, sir, it didn't register.
Oh, okay.
Well,
So you
take
voted
it.
yes?
I thought you voted for you, left.
Ordinance 34, zoning appeals C-914, an ordinance amending Chapter 106 of the Code of Ordinances, the City of Shreveport zoning ordinance by rezoning property located on the east side of North Market, 250 feet north of Holman Road, Shreveport, Louisiana, Shreveport, Kettle Parish, Louisiana, from B1 Buffer Business District to R1D Urban One Family Resident District, and to deny the request for B1 Buffer Business District to B3 Community Business District zoning.
So
And
move on
there
the
is
amendment.
an amendment.
It's
So
it's
move on
been
the
moved by
There's an
Councilwoman
amendment.
McCullough, second by Jeff. On the amendment, all in favor, vote yea. Opposes nay. This amendment passes with a
I'm
7-0
sorry, Mr.
vote.
Corbin, what was your vote?
Yes.
Thank you.
Uh,
As amended.
Legislation as amended, it's been moved by Councilwoman McCullough, second by Councilman Jeff Everson. Any questions or discussion? If not, all in favor vote yea, opposed nay.
Good you are at noticing that subtle second.
Hey, Rose, I knew he was gonna do it, so that's why I just called his name as second.
Do we have anything to come off the table, Mr. Chairman?
Not at this point, I don't believe, council members, do you all, we had the wishes of the council now. You have anything you'd like to come off the table? And if
Excuse
you-
me, Mr.
And if you
Chairman.
do, I would hope that you, would keep your remarks kinda,
Ordinance number 12, see if y'all can find out for me what the status is. I know we were looking into checking with some of the property owners, and there was some waiting period that we had to wait before I could bring this off the table for consideration. Ordinance number 12 of 2014, that's the Greg Kirby Street name change. So just give me some kind of update on where we are, and then we can make some decision going forward.
Jenkins, the ordinance itself says there was a 90-day period and that the ordinance would not be adopted prior to May 13th. So it looks like that would be the time that it could come back up if they've got the information.
Okay. All right, thank you.
and, Councilman Jenkins, you hadn't considered, like basically we've been doing with the others, designating it and not necessarily changing the name.
Had I considered it?
Yes.
Yes, I considered it.
Okay, well, you know, because that's what we might have to go to, but in case we don't,
Shine?
yes.
I think he wants to join that great tradition afforded to CME bishops that we talked about at the last council meeting. But I'm not trying to get into that aspect of the council business. I just wanted to bring it up since you and I are both CMEs.
Well, Mr. Mayor, I agree with you, but I would hope that he would do like we did for Illinois Street coming right down beside Morning Star. We designated that as your good friend and mine. The Reverend Dr. Murphy Hunt. We didn't change the name because, you know, we got a lot of folks out there that's gonna come to us and ask us to change the name of a street in honor of somebody who they think is great, and because it's good for those people. But I think we're opening up a Pandora's box when we just start changing names.
Mr. Chairman, did you realize that nearly all the rest of those streets in and around Illinois in that Moortown area is named after some great ministers?
Well, but it was done years ago. I mean, we had
Making a difference when it was done, Mr. Chairman.
No.
Go back and look at your Motown history.
No, you misunderstanding what I'm saying, though.
I understand fully what you're saying.
No, evidently you don't, by making a statement that you
Mr.
made.
Chairman, let me say, Mr. Chairman, if you're ready to move on, I'm ready to move on. I gave you a reply to what you asked me.
Look, I'm ready to move on. You the one that's doing all the yapping. All right, all in favor, vote.
What we voting on, Mr. Chairman? You want to bring it off the table and vote for it today?
I mean, if
I don't believe that ordinance is written that way. I think we are required to wait till the 13th.
But now, if you want to change it, I'm trying to think. Does he have the authority as
I'm willing to wait.
council member?
I'm willing to wait till the 13th, but I just want you to know I've been doing my history on Moortown.
I just want you to be happy. I want
Take a look at those streets out there.
Look there, I want you
All
to-
named for some great preachers. Check me out.
Mr. Jenkins, you're not the only one who can read and write, and you're not the only one who know history. I think I know a little bit more history about that area than you do.
Check
Now,
it
you
out.
might, I don't have to check it out. Okay. I know about it.
Am
You
I
check
right?
it out.
Am I right?
I'm sorry.
Am I right, Mr. Chairman?
Let's move on.
Am I right, Mr. Chairman?
No, you're not right. Let's move on, please.
We're at, if there are no other legislation to be dealt with on table legislation, we are dealing with appeals, metropolitan planning, BAC 20-14.
We have streets named after preachers all over the city.
5706 Mansfield Road, Shreveport, Louisiana. Mr. Daniel Willis, Five Brothers Family Inc., west side of Mansfield Road, 299 north of Hollywood Avenue, special exception use, and a B3 district.
Mr. Willis, would you please come forward? Mr. Willis's business is in my district, is in District F. I think what he's trying to do is going to be a kind of a family-oriented type of business, and because Councilman Carver and I had a couple fellows who came to us and said that we don't promote minority businesses enough. So I would ask this council to let's overturn the decision of the MPC, give them an opportunity to operate their business. Mr. Daniels, I would ask you to make sure you monitor the activity that goes on there. I guess there was some people on the MPC thought that this might impact an area behind your business, but I know it very well. Probably not, but maybe 4 or 5 families over in that area. Sometimes those houses are empty over in that area. But I would ask you to make sure that you monitor that area. Gene, I would ask you to, Gene, you want to come forward 1 minute so you can.
What is it that you're putting in?
I would ask you to monitor that area too, so if we have any problems in that area, we can make sure that we go to Mr. Daniels and see if we can correct them. And Mr. Daniels, in order to make sure that we on the up and up, I'm going to tie it in with a year's probation, so if we have any problems, you'll be able to come back to the council and we'll be able to discuss those problems with you.
That's fine.
Okay?
What's he trying to open up there, Mr. Chairman?
You want to explain to Councilman Webb, Mr. Daniel, what you trying to
It's
open up?
affordable space for rental for those people that can't afford to come to the convention center or go to one of the hotels around, want to hold smaller events.
For a wedding?
For weddings, family reunions.
Reunions and that kind
things of that nature, birthday parties, or whatever they want to rent it for. And, you know, like I said, like I explained to the Planning Commission, we're going to employ, on the inside, we'll have our own personal security that we already have put in place, and we're going to employ off-duty police officers, be it sheriffs or SPD officers, to work the parking lot to make sure that that area is clear. And, you know, if parking was an issue, we are in the works of contacting the person with the empty lot across the street so we can, if need be, contract with him for overflow and monitor the traffic that way. But by no means we want to respect we respect the decision of the Planning Commission, but also I've invested a lot of money in that area already, that business already, and I would like to at least.
Right, you could, that's about it, Mr. Daniel. We appreciate it. We just want to ask you to make sure that you stay on top of it.
I will.
And monitor the situation.
I will.
It's been moved by the chair. Can I get a second?
I wanted to hear from Gene why the board denied this unanimous.
I'm sorry.
I was going to get you to clarify the motion, so you may want to listen to Mr. Jean first, and
Okay.
then I'll tell you what I was going to say.
All right, come on, Gene.
There was concern about the size of this facility, and then there was some adjacent residential not too far from this location that they thought that potentially could be negatively impacted if there was a lot of people coming and going and activity out in outdoor space in the parking lot. That was some of the issues that were discussed.
Or if they use it for what they're talking about using it for, I don't see why.
Is alcoholic beverages was also part of that. This is the Zoning Board of Appeals special exception use with the consumption of alcoholic beverages. So that was some of the concern associated with that.
Now, I'm told that, you know, whoever have a birthday party or wedding would be able to bring their own. Yeah, and you know,
I mean, are they going to rent it out every weekend to let anybody come in, and everybody's going to bring their own
you know, I don't
liquor,
think
and it just becomes a nightclub?
No, it's. I mean, this is not going to become a nightclub. Am I understanding
We don't
you
have
right?
any intentions of becoming a nightclub, council. We don't have any intentions of becoming we want to rent the facility with just what we said it's going to be. So.
For birthday parties.
You know.
You know, it's not for you to throw a dance in there. If that's what you're asking, like a nightclub. This would be for birthday parties, for family reunions. Let's say if you had a church that wanted to have a party and needed a place to go. For a wedding.
Right.
Yeah.
Church.
What did it used to be?
Church
What
ain't
did
was
that
it
place
like?
used to be?
It used to be a multi-purpose center.
Yeah, right. It was a multi-purpose center.
Let me just ask some, I'm a little confused, if I may.
Yeah.
On two issues that I have. First thing is, it says that at one point it was approved for this purpose before.
Right.
For a year probation, and then nobody ever occupied it. So if it was approved for a year, does that mean it's been here before the council before? And then secondly, I guess in fairness, I'd like to have some input from the police department at this point, just in terms of what their thoughts are. And maybe it was already in the mix when we did this a year ago, if we did it a year ago.
I think what happened, it was approved, but nobody ever, you know, you have to have some money, you know, even if you get some approved, you got to have some money to go into the business. So I think the people who it was approved for, the funding source. But now if you want to, Corporal Collins or anybody from the police department want to come in and want to come up and say if they know anything about it.
I mean, I'm just trying to get a little, because it sounds like we've approved, or at least it reads in there that we approved it in the past. And I was thinking this was the one kind of by the airport.
No.
And And we had him on a probationary period, and then, but maybe this isn't the same one.
No, it's not up by the
Where
airport.
the U-Haul place is.
There you go. It's out by the U-Haul places.
The police department has some major issues with this location. First of all, the track record already of the kind of events we've had there. We've had arrests there already. They've been more like teen parties. I wish I had the brochures to show the pictures, the foul language on the brochures and stuff for these kind of parties. If, like I said, we've already had arrests at that location. Also, just north of there, as you know, there's a back parking lot, and there's residences right along that back parking lot. They're just on the other side of the fence. This place is big inside, there's no doubt about it. And because it's so big inside, if it does fill up, he's got to fill up the parking lot. And part of his parking, his proposed parking, is in that northwest parking lot behind the building, right next to those residences. You're talking about throwing alcohol in the mix now. A lot of people out there, when people start drinking, or even late at night, noises travel really bad, and you have those residences right up against there. It's already got a track record. We've always had problems there, several arrests, and it just does not seem like a good use for that location.
Well, this is why, not cutting in on you, this is why I'm saying, let's give them probation. Because I don't think we're in a position to actually say whether it's gonna be good or bad, because we're looking into a crystal ball. Now, if, this is why I'm saying, let's give them a year. You understand that if we have some problems with it, then you'll come back and we will deny you of it.
If it gives you any problems in it at all, you don't have to shut it down, I would.
Right.
So, but you know, all I ask is opportunity. You know, I'm not asking for any handouts or
Right.
anything. I ask for opportunity to do business. That's all I ask for.
Right, because arresting somebody and you're gonna shut it down, you know, you might go to somebody's house and arrest them. You're not gonna shut their house down because you went there and arrested some people. And that's what I'm saying. Let's give him an opportunity to run his business. If we have any problems with it, then he'll shut it down, and he understands that if he doesn't shut it down, we'll shut it down. But let's don't shut it down because we think that there might be some problems there.
What kind of lease options do you have on that?
I got a lease, I signed a year's lease with my, with 5 brothers. So in 4 months, almost 4 months now, I've been paying the rent.
Right.
And I hadn't been in the building.
Right.
So, so I only got about 8 months left on my lease to turn a profit. So, and then it's up to him whether he wants to renew my lease.
That's right.
You know, so.
Let's give him 8 months.
Right, let's give him that time, and we having a problem with it, then we'll shut it down, but let's don't shut it down because we've had 2 or 3 people arrested there. We had somebody using some foul language, because, you know, if foul language would get it shut down, you know, y'all would shut my house down sometimes, Mayor, because, you know, I use a little foul language, you know, here and
What
there.
kind of stipulations are we gonna put on this, Mr. Chairman?
We want him to come back at the end of the year, and this would be monitored by the police department. Chief, if you all have any problems, you all monitor it, bring it back to us, and we'll shut him down. You know, we will take this back, but let's not keep him from having an opportunity to make his money and running a upright business there. I mean, we don't want to say he's gonna do like the other fella, you know, because if we did, you know, I don't know what this world would be like, you know, and foul language, yes.
Sorry. I was going to clarify your motion. The way we usually do these on ZBA cases is you're granting the special exception and use approval for a 1-year period.
Right.
And then he's got to come back and apply for it.
Right.
So it's not like the alcohol licenses where he gets to keep it unless he has any problems.
Right.
It's a lot cleaner, and the way we usually do it is you grant it for a 1-year period, and then he comes back and then you see.
That's my motion. We'll grant it for 1 year and for 8 months, and you understand, Mr. Daniels? You'll come back and let us take a look at it.
And he,
8 months.
Was it 8 months or 1 year?
His lease runs out in 8 months, so in 8 months you come back. If you get the, if you have no problems, then you can go to the guy and see if you can lease it again.
And he would come back and apply at the ZBA?
Yes.
Okay. Can I just ask, I really want to go back to where was it approved before? Here or at the ZBA? And Gene probably is the only one that can answer that. When it says in the notes of the MPC it was approved for a year, from whom?
Special exception uses are approved by the ZBA. They don't come to this body unless they're appealed.
Okay, so previously it was approved at the ZBA for 1 year, but it never came into play because they never had an occupant. Is that?
Yeah, it was never, all the special exception uses expire every year if they're not
Right.
put in use.
Right.
Okay, but this time they didn't choose to grant him that 1 year. Is that what I'm getting?
Well, this is a different applicant as far as I'm aware. It's just the same piece of property.
Okay, and then there's also a multipurpose place next door. Are we not confusing some issues at the multipurpose place next door to this one that's been unoccupied? I mean, I'm starting to get a little, if there's nobody been in there, how could we have had this many parties and problems? And maybe it's a different owner.
I can straighten that out real quick.
Okay.
This gentleman has been in there, he has been in there without a special exception use, without any zoning. That was some of the problems we were having, is he was running it illegally as far as not being legal with any permits or anything like that, including a certificate of occupancy. With the parties and stuff he'd been having there, it was not the location next door. They run a very good operation there, have never had any problems there. All the problems come from this gentleman's establishment and the personnel he had in there, and that's where the arrest came from.
Okay, yes.
What happened was, and I got my security, head of security right there. He can explain what happened with the arrest. They were in there, we had got some equipment in. I didn't know how to hook it up. No, he didn't know how to hook it up. Okay, we did have one event in there. I don't know about all these arrests he's talking about. I don't know nothing about that. It was one arrest. And that was because the person I left in charge took responsibility, and he didn't know what was going on. So he took responsibility for it, and they arrested him.
Well, Mr. Daniels, I'm going to ask the council to grant this exception, and you understand that it's on you to make sure that you monitor.
I understand that.
The action that goes on there, and then you come back at the end of the year.
I understand that.
And we see where it goes from there.
I understand that.
Okay, that's my motion. Can I get a second on that?
I already gave it to
I'm
you.
sorry, yes. All in favor of the special exception, vote yes. Opposed is no.
He got 8 months, and then he coming back.
He got 8 months and he'll be back.
Come back, well, nothing is supposed to happen in 8 months. No misfortune.
And Corporal Collins, will you all keep a check on that and make sure that we do have the right place and right time and the right people, and we want to make sure that it's run in an orderly fashion. B, are we?
Mr. Sam Jenkins, please. Is it not working? Oh.
Still thinking.
Okay, we got 6 for Mr. Daniels and 1 against. That was Councilman Sam Jenkins. You got 6 people who got faith in you. Don't let them down.
Thank you.
You got your special exception.
Thanks.
All right.
What did you call my name about?
That was Oliver.
I'm saying, was it Oliver? I'm sorry.
And it's not that I didn't have faith. I think I just need more information.
Daniels.
I was a little worried about my.
Mr. Daniels, I'm sorry, it was not Sam Jenkins. I'm sorry, that was Oliver Jenkins. I misread it. Okay. Sam, thank you. Gentlemen, I appreciate that. Let's give him an opportunity, and Coach Councilman Corbin, when they come to us again and say, we have not bent over backwards to help any of them, they'll understand. Okay.
We have no other appeals or reports. Do we have reports from officers, boards, and committees?
Jeff may have.
I'm sorry,
Yeah.
we're committees. Sorry, I was reading something. Yeah, we had a infrastructure committee meeting earlier today where we reviewed the rate and cost of service portion of the study that we've had. That's been several portions of this study over the last few years. This is the third portion, and we reviewed the draft. So this was the document that helped us to compare how we charge for water now, not specifically how much we charge, but how we charge for it, and look at, is there a way that we could reshape that structure of the way we charge for water so that we're covering our cost of services better, but also so that maybe we can provide some discounts or incentives for people who use less water. So we did have a good discussion, had some real good questions that were asked, and we were able to provide some direction to the consultants who are tasked with finalizing that survey or that report, so that they can go back and consider those issues that we discussed today and get us a final draft of that report. So in addition to the infrastructure committee meeting, while I've got the floor, I will just mention also the B4 committee is trying to schedule a meeting tentatively for Monday at this next Monday at 1:30, and that is the Riverfront B4 committee. The primary topic on that agenda will be the Barnwell Center, so we can follow up on some of the discussion that has been being had lately on the Barnwell Center.
Dale, I tried to impress upon Jeff to make his meetings at 1:30, because Chief, I eat kind of slow, and I don't want to have that indigestion. We're trying to hurry up and make it to Jeff's meeting because I don't like to miss any of his meetings. It's kind of like going to church. You know, you want to get there on time. Any more?
What time was that, Jeff?
1:30 on next Monday.
Miss Jackie, you got that?
And we'll send out a reminder. We'll send out a public meeting notice.
I'll have to make sure that Jackie has it, because sometimes my technology breaks down.
I had the same problem with my iPad and my phone and all the rest.
Right. And it's hard for me to bring that information up. Okay, any more reports?
There are no clerk reports, and now we are in the council will resolve itself to the committee of the whole.
Okay, we will, can I get a motion that,
Motion.
okay, it's been moved by Councilwoman McCullough, second by Councilman Oliver Jenkins. All in favor, vote yes, opposed is no. Okay, how about the minutes? Can I get a?
That was what I moved on, sorry.
I'm sorry. It's been moved on that by Councilman Oliver Jenkins, second by Councilman Mike Carvin. On the minutes, all in favor, vote yes, opposed is no. Okay, minutes have been approved. Mr. Mayor, now we're back in your hands.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the council. Would just simply reiterate our communications from the earlier portion of the meeting. We want to encourage all of our citizens out there across the city to organize and get engaged in the Great American Cleanout this coming Saturday. You can contact the mayor's office or Shreveport Green to register a team. We certainly want to encourage people to participate. If you can, come out this Saturday. If you cannot, know that we are prepared to support and assist you at any time that any group across the city wants to organize for a cleanup. We also want to help spread the word about the Bank on Shreveport event that will be held in conjunction with the IRS at the Church of the Highlands this coming Saturday. Free tax assistance will be provided to all folks earning under $52,000 a year. So simply bring your information, come out and get some great assistance from some outstanding professionals preparing your taxes, and also understand how you can connect with all the great services available through Bank on Shreveport. I want to also encourage folks starting this Thursday to come out and going on through the weekend, possibly up until next Monday. The American Basketball Association finals are going to be held right here in Shreveport at the Hearst Coliseum. Come on out. There are 8 teams who are in town or will be in town from all across the country. We have every hope and expectation that the Shreveport Bossier Mavericks will ultimately end up coming out on top Nevertheless, come out and see some great basketball and support our hometown team. I also want to express again great appreciation to all of the folks from Shelley and Annie McDermott and all of the folks on the city staff, SPAR, Parks, Recreation, Public Buildings, as well as McInnes Brothers Construction, Mike McSwain, Architect, all of the folks who were volunteers, Shreveport Regional Arts Council, who helped coordinate the opening last Thursday. I want to thank them for an effort that has resulted in the refurbishment of the municipal auditorium, something that will continue to be able to serve this community in a very grand way for decades yet to come. We're looking forward to a series of great events that will be taking place in that venue within the coming weeks and months, so stay tuned for that. And then also we want to encourage folks to come out and participate in what will be a combination of the Makers Fair and Shreveport Unseen. Will start at 11 o'clock on Saturday morning. We'll go until 10 or 11 o'clock at night. So that's going to be taking place in the area between the Central Art Station and the Municipal Auditorium. Lots of great activities. Come out, be involved, participate, and let's have a great time. With that, Mr. Chairman, council members, I'll turn it back over to you.
Mr. Mayor, thank you. Now, council members, if you all have anything that you have said in the beginning, I'll make it short. Don't make it so redundant. If not, we have public comments. Council members, thank y'all.
I did want to mention one event, in addition to some of the events that the mayor mentioned. And I know there's always a lot of great events going on in town, and particularly this time of year as the weather gets nice. But I did want to mention one that I know Councilman Shine will be in attendance. I think the mayor is scheduled to stop by as well. But Coach Melvin Russell is a well-loved local coach who you know, is battling against some tough medical conditions with kidneys, and there is an event on Friday night at Paradise Baptist Church, and then Saturday morning there'll be an event that culminates in a health fair at Hattie Perry Park. Would like to invite everybody to come out, both kind of learn a little bit more about how you can take care of yourself and to support a local who is in a time of need. So both great events to add to your weekend calendar, and I just wanted to make a brief mention of it.
Mr. Mayor, I should have, and I guess I'm getting old and forgetful, but Melvin has the same problem that I have, all of them. I have a kidney problem, and I'm sorry, Chief. I guess I should have mentioned that, but sometimes, you know, you feel so good until you forget about it, until it hits you again. It's amazing how so many people are not aware of how many people suffer from kidney problems. Dale, I was never aware until it hit me, and believe it or not, Oliver, it can catch you at all stages and all ages of life, and people kind of think it's more of it now than what it used to be, and I just want to make the council aware, and anybody who's in the audience aware, that when you have a physical checkup, you need to make sure that when you check on your heart, you check on your kidneys, your lungs, and all of that, because we live in a very stressful society. And Dale, I don't know whether it's because I'm working with Oliver or not, bringing on this little extra stress, you know, trying to deal with him or not, that brought all of this on. But I would advise anybody who's listening in the TV audience to make sure you have your blood checked, you have your kidneys checked. You know, it is something that you can live with, Dale, if you're strong. if you're not. And I think, is the chief here, Chief Shaw here? I believe Melvin Russell was his coach. And, Chief, I think, Chief Shaw? I believe Melvin was your coach.
Yes, Coach Melvin Russell was my high school coach and father figure back in those days, and helped a lot of us young people out. And we managed to win a state championship under him, but first we managed to lose one in order to learn how to win one. And so we played back to back. We won the last one, and just a great man and mentors a lot of us young men, and filled us full of good information to make us productive citizens in this town. And he's in this time of need. And of course, speaking about kidneys, and I'll tell this, and I publicly really don't see it, but I'll see it anyway. It's since we're talking about that, I only have one kidney, and mine is congenital. I was born that way. Okay. So you just never know, how important that is. Right. And not only kidneys, but just donations of organs in general. Mm-hmm. And nobody checks yes on their driver's license anymore. But until I found out, and it was just 3 or 4 years ago, I would check no. But I only have one now, but I check yes. And maybe somebody can use it. It's pretty big. The one that I do have is a giant one, but it works fine. So you only need one to live, and if you can help someone by donating an organ, please do. And God, bless you, because hopefully you're going to heaven. You don't need that. Somebody here can use it.
Now, Chief, just before you take your seat, there's a young man in this town that's named Archie Hall, and I always thought Chief was I always thought he was a pretty good basketball player until Archie Hall told me, Dale, that he used to just dunk on him at will, because now the Chief says there's no truth in that, but Archie still stands, that he used to just dunk on the Chief whenever Woodlawn played Booker T. So, I'm gonna leave it at that.
Who got the hardware, Mr. Chairman?
Well, that's
just always remind Archie, I won my last high school game, and I won my last college game, which makes me a national champion and a state champion.
Ah, y'all hear that? Huh? Now, Archie's listening.
And all that up.
Now, look, wait a minute. Now, Archie's listening.
Yeah.
All right.
So he knows that to be true.
Oh, okay then. Okay, Chief. Chief, thank you. Any more? If not, we'll go to the Reverend Dr. Calvin Austin III. Is he still here?
He had to leave, Mr. Shine, but said he'd try to get back.
All right. If not, we'll go to Reverend Dr. Pastor Mays. Pastor, come forward.
Thank you.
Give us your name and address, and
Councilman Shine,
3
Pastor
minutes, and we'll move on if you have some more.
East Azale Suite, Shreveport, Louisiana, 71104. I came before this council not to speak on a matter that is already pressing, and because I have legal counsel, but I want to speak to the enemies that I am aware of and those that are not, the snakes. And on behalf of a good friend of mine who was also wrongly convicted, wrongly charged, and his name, his wife's name, who was charged, is Pastor Osborne. And the same thing that I've been doing for years, I'm going to continue to do. No attempt by nobody will stop me from doing what I'm doing down here before this council, and that's being an advocate for those who cannot speak for themselves. So the asserted attempt by anyone to do so will not work. I serve God and God alone. That's who I work for. Now, with that being said, Pastor Osborne's wife was arrested by a detective of the Shreveport Police Department after their daughter-in-law had died. The homicide detective, or whoever he was that was working the case, decided that he was going to bring more grief to this family by arresting the son, by arresting his wife, by arresting the deceased girl, Councilman Shine, mother, And all these people had got permission from the worker at the food stamp office to take the food stamp and to use them for the children. That's the hypocrisy that we deal with on a day-to-day basis. Most people don't deal with it, but we have to deal with it. It's sad to say that this is the kind of world that we live in, that allegations, false allegations, can be rendered against anyone at any time. But the FBI assured me that they don't work for but one department, and that's the federal government. And they're going to look into these matters. I already filed a petition through Internal Affairs. So now, their job is to seek justice. So whoever decide that they are in control of justice, they seeking justice out. So with that being said, Pastor Osborne and his family, I know I'm on the clock, Pastor Osborne and his family has suffered great grief, great disappointment with their daughter-in-law being killed, and now have to suffer an arrest behind that. So it is sad. I'm not up here to talk about my case. I'm going to have my day in court. I am innocent. I know I'm innocent, and I remain innocent. So with that being said, I want to thank you guys for your service, and look forward to having my day in court, and we're going to let the system work. And for all those individuals out there that was praying for me, the pastors that called, only thing this has done was made me bigger. So whoever's behind it, I want to thank you for it, because you have made me more bigger and popular than what I once was. And with that being said, I appreciate you guys very much for an opportunity to, thank you for the extra time, for an opportunity to stand before this desk and to address some matters that's going on within the city of Shreveport. I know that it's upsetting a lot of people for me being here, even talking now. But I will not, by anyone but the Lord God Almighty, stop the advocacy work that we've been doing, and being a pastor, being concerned about the people in District B and throughout this city. So I just want to take the opportunity to thank all of those individuals that prayed, that was with me from the beginning, and still remain to believe who I am and what I stand for. So rather than breaking me, you have made me better. I thank you for that. And to all of you, I pray God's speed upon you, and I look forward to being vindicated. I will be here when the next council comes, if the Lord let me live, and the next mayor, and the next council, and the next council, and the next council, until he says enough is enough. I work for Jesus. Thank you, Councilman Shine.
Mr. Mayor, did you want to say anything? Any council members want to say anything?
Always good to see Pastor Mays.
All right.
You know I was praying for you, Pastor Mays.
All right.
Innocent. I turned myself in. Innocence.
All right. All right.
Thank you. Thank you, Councilman Shine.
All right. Mr. Craig B. Lee.
What does the B stand for, Councilman Shine?
You know, I taught Mr. Lee in high school, and I do want to say Mr. Lee was one of the better students.
Better?
Oh, it stands for better?
Well, that's what I'm saying. He was one of the, maybe that's what the B stands for, but he was one of the better students.
It stands for brains.
And at Fair Park High School, and we'll say the B stands for brain.
Okay.
But all joking aside, Craig was very sharp. Craig, I give you credit. You were one of the few students who could do some creative thinking.
Yeah.
Even back in high school.
Until he put me on the football field with my chair.
Yeah, now Mr. Mayor, I will say that Chief, one day he did kind of get out of line a little bit, so I had to make him get his chair and his books and go sit in the middle of the football field where I could watch him. And now he was better after that.
That is true.
He was better after that. Okay.
Councilman Shine, if you do that to me, can you give me a little heads up so we can do it on work session instead of on the...
Craig, I'm gonna have to apologize to them, Craig.
Mr. Shine, I'm just gonna tell Craig, you know what Einstein said about great spirits?
What's that?
And mediocre mind.
No. I got you. But Craig Lee, 1035 Euston Street. Over the past month, we've had Chief Shaw speak at Tuesday morning breakfast, and this morning we had a great presentation from Chief Mulford. And let me tell you, he did a great job enlightening the group about the economic development component that the fire department brings and the police department brings in terms of attracting businesses. Because I literally knew the importance of the fire department having a level 1 certification in terms of it being important. But today he connected the dots in terms of Bentler Steel wanting to see the importance of our fire department and the police department. So I wanted to thank them publicly in terms of a lot of the information that he gave out. Both he and Chief Shaw have been doing a real good job as it relates to continuing the progression of the fire department and the police department. At the next meeting, I will have all the photos. I've talked to Ms. Farnell in terms of the property standards issue, and we will have the individual that is the slum land person in the Fairfield Historic District. We'll have the pictures for the next meeting. Today, I just want to basically ask, over the past couple of years, we did the redistricting of the city council lines. Where are we at as it relates to the actual map in terms of that? Because several of us are seeking to run for office. So a few people had approached me, and I didn't know if we had finalized the maps and whatnot. So I wanted to make sure that I asked that question today.
Let me speak on that, Jeff, if you don't mind, then I'll let you come in. Sure. And I want to direct this to the city attorney. I believe things have kind of been finalized, and from what I can understand, Craig, the map has not really changed that much. Am I right? Mr. Thompson is not here. Dr. Oliver, help me. Yeah, Dr. Joyner. Dr. Joyner was here at the last council meeting, and he gave us, he spoke to this particular point. So Craig, if there's anybody out there who's ready to run, I would tell them to get ready to start raising their money. And because the district lines have not really changed that much. So, it's better to be prepared early than be prepared late. But Mr. Thompson will be here at the next council meeting, and he can kind of tell us officially what Dr. John has said, because they have been back in.
So at the next meeting, we'll have the...
Yeah, be back in touch with one another.
And if you want, I can get you a copy or direct you to where they're online. It's the same map that we passed when we voted. As far as, and the only district that may have any, there might be 2 or 3 districts that added a little bit of land that was currently outside the city limits. But certainly District B is the same as it was before, and the other ones won't change, where they are. It's just there's a couple of parts of the city that weren't included as the city before, and now they're included.
So
primarily District D is a little different, but there's, a little touch in G, a little touch in a couple of the other districts, but it's primarily District D is the one that added some population.
So the map that I thought was approved had District B's southern boundary now being Kings Highway, where it connected with initially Oliver's district. So that still goes over into...
Correct, yeah, the District B boundaries haven't changed at all.
So what happened in terms of the map that was initially voted on?
It's still in place?
It's still in place.
Still in place?
Same one.
Still in place? The bottom line is, if there's anybody want to run, tell them to get ready, because the districts have not really changed that much.
No, follow what I'm saying. We had a major discussion about which map, and the map that was pretty much voted on had District B's boundaries stopping at Kings Highway and picking up Queensboro, a portion of Queensboro. So you're saying that map has been eliminated?
No, the map that we voted on is the map that is still in place.
Okay, that's map. That's what I want to know. Map 12.
Plan 12.
Plan 12. All right, that's exactly what I wanted to know. And the last part is the big challenge, and I said this morning with Chief Mulford. The city of Shreveport is roughly 200,000 folks. The biggest challenge for this council and for the next folks that's coming on, we need to grow the population of Shreveport over the next 10, 20 years by basically 200,000 people. The master plan talks about condensing the population, bringing things on the inner core. The mayor was speaking earlier about the water, sewer issues, the stress that you put on the infrastructure by having a lot of people, because Shreveport is really a very large city by square mile. You're talking about, you know, by population, we're like 100 and something rank out of the entire country, but if you looked at us by square mile, I would probably say we're in the top 20, because we're larger than Atlanta, we're larger than New York City, we're larger than a lot of cities by square mile, but we only have about 200,000 people. It is very incumbent, as I talked to Daniel on the outside, young guys who want to do some things, but probably started the wrong way and now started to spend money. We got to encourage people to put businesses together, because that's going to be the thing that keeps people here and starts to attract people, and that's what Chief Mulford talked about today. But it is my objective, whether in the private sector or public sector, we have to grow this population to 300,000. That's going to impact not only our tax base, but it's also going to now bring down, Mayor, the airline fares. As you brought a wonderful new director in, if we don't increase the population within an hour drive time in Shreveport, we're going to still suffer, and that impacts the tourism dollars. So I would say to you, in terms of, Councilman Shine, you were talking about the kidneys and all these other health issues. We need to basically work together on the same accord so that we can now bring these economic realities to the city, so that we can improve the quality of life by increasing our revenue stream from that standpoint. Well, thank you, guys.
Just before you go to your seat, that's what we just got through trying to do. That's why we was giving that young man an opportunity to create a business.
Absolutely.
And you know, we don't want to kill it by saying, you know, this is going to happen, that's going to happen, that's going to happen. That's why we want to give him an opportunity. And the only way we can grow the population of this city, or any city, is you have to create jobs. And I know the mayor has probably been working on that, and I've kind of heard that maybe after office, that might be a part of what he does as a consultant for economic development. Man, I look like I'm throwing this out here.
No, I thought you were about to say that Veronica and I were going to work on having children.
And I plan, and I plan on working.
That was the second thing I was shaking my head.
You're going to adopt that $1 million donor family member I haven't met yet.
Okay, but you're actually right, Craig. We do need to grow the population of this city. And I think one thing, too, that will help us, we got a new superintendent in here, and I believe we're going to see our school system take off and become excellent. And people like to locate where there's a good school system. So,
oh, absolutely.
I think we're on the right track, but I do want you to continue to come down here and also go to the school board.
Oh, without a doubt.
And make sure that that's number one, that we grow this population, and we have to. Craig, again, appreciate you coming.
And quick thing, even though Daniel didn't tell me to say this, Daniel's a good friend of mine, and I know he appreciates you guys giving him that opportunity for the 8 months. And like I told him, you got to understand the process before you put the money up.
Right.
And it's not a racial thing, but you got to understand the political process of how this rolls. But he definitely wanted me.
He invested his money before we got the process, and we don't want him to lose his money. Okay, I believe our last is a gentleman who be with us at every council meeting, Dr. Sammy Mears. Doc, come forward.
Dr. Knott. Sammy Mears, 1901 Centenary Boulevard, Shreveport, Louisiana 71101. I come today because there have been some complaints recently about people who are doing fireworks like around Independence Day and Christmas through New Year's Day when they fire too close to apartment complexes or somebody's house. It's been mentioned just recently, and I thought that I would just let it be known. Over at our place, this has happened before. If they are going to pop any firecrackers, they should do it away from the buildings, because only one little spark could possibly get a fire started. And I sure don't want that to happen to anyone over at Oak Meadows or at any complex place or any houses. So with that being said, I just thought I might bring that up today. And also just to say that I have my own agenda Saturday, April 12 as well, as I'll be singing at the Easter celebration meal. I saw that. I'll be singing at the Easter celebration meal at Noel Methodist Church at 11 a.m. until about, between that time until about maybe 1 p.m. We are going to have a good barbecue chicken, and we'll have some good entertainment. We'll have, I guess, prizes for the kids, or maybe an Easter egg hunt, so that should be something that I will always look forward to doing. And I had talked to Rachel Scott after we had a Masterwork concert. She asked me, how many songs will you be singing? I said, possibly 6. And then she said, could you do 4 first? And then, if ample time permits, you can do your other 2. So I've been working on this and look forward to that. And Rose, do me a favor. Don't let your eyeballs pop out like Slinkies.
Will you sing one of them now?
Don't give me ideas. And Ron, since I heard you've got a good singing voice, one day we should duet.
Ron?
That could be a revenue producer for the city right there.
Yeah, that's a talent show. That would be great.
Ron said earlier he has a pretty good singing voice, and I believe that he and I could do a duet together if we wanted to.
I believe that would be great.
I think they're gonna vote you 3 more minutes.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say something. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you,
I'm
Sammy.
going to encourage, Sammy, I'm going to encourage all the council members to go out and hear Sammy perform. That's April 12th, right, Sammy?
It'll be April 12 from 11 a.m. to, I believe, 1 or 2 p.m., just depending on what Noel has going on. But I know I'm going to be there.
Okay.
I am not scared of a microphone, and besides, one of our choir members only has not shown up in Springs of Grace for the past 3 weeks, where I had to step in and be the lead singer on the microphone, just like I'm talking on this one.
Sammy, thank you. Okay, if there's no more comments, observation, we're going to call this meeting closed.
Sammy, I hear you have a rap tape coming out.
Wow.